All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. Back with another red yellow Sabo video, am I right? But no, seriously, guys, I had today's video planned for a while. I wanted to give you guys a OP08 comprehensive deck builder's guide for red yellow Sabo straight out of the gate. Because, for those who are not aware, today, at the time of me recording this, is the official OP08 release date for the West, right? The pre-release was last week. Now, OP08 is legal for us over here in the West. We got the real deal now. We're ready to go. So, with that in mind, let me give you guys a quick, layout for today's video. It's going to be broken into two parts, really. We're going to dive straight into the action, and we're going to go over 10 games on the sim, okay? These 10 games I have selected against nothing but meta leaders. Okay, at least that was to the best of my ability. That's what I tried to get, and I think you guys are going to be pretty happy with some of those the decks that I was able to get matchups against. Okay, so that would be the first half of the video, is 10 straight games on the sim. Then, from there, the second half of the video is going to be a little boring for some people, and that's why I chose to do the sim games first. But we've got we've got a lot of theory crafting to do. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. In the second part of the video, we're going to be analyzing the red yellow Sabo list from OP07, a few of them actually, a few from OP07.5 even, whatever you want to call what just happened in the West, and then talk about OP08, talk about OP08.5, and talk about OP08. I almost said 8.9, OP09, which is now, we're seeing red yellow Sabo results from the East already, guys. So very exciting video today. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant links and deck lists down in the comment section below. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not be afraid to ask. Okay, now with that in mind, there will not be an art critique in today's video. There will not be, what do you call it? There will not be a, there won't even be a VV lab, okay? We're just getting straight into the red yellow Sabo action. All right, let's do it, guys. You know what you're getting into. Let me remove this leader thing right here, and we are good to go. Well, actually, hang on. Volume's off, speed is on 2x, and now we're good to go. So first game up here, we got against Doflamingo, and this is OP08. Okay, guys, and check out the list. We are gonna look at the list after this. We're gonna look at the list at the end of all of these 10 games, or if you want to take a sneak peek at it, pause it, and fast forward to that part and check out the list. But guys, right here, I swing for 5 to start off. We're going against Doffy here. I got to go first. If you can take first away from Doffy, you should. Okay, and not to mention, we actually kind of like going first, but going second works for us as well. But we took first away from Doffy. Let me pause this real quick. Sorry, guys. We took first away from Doffy. Okay, I play out my Zoro on turn 2, and I don't swing. I could have swung, but I think that would have changed his play into something like attach 3 Dawn to Doffy, swing 8 into Doffy, and just take a chance at whatever's on top. Or if they had a Perona, they would have set it real quick and then swung in that way. I didn't want to take the chance, but at the same time, there's definitely an argument where I could have, right? Like, I don't think it would have been a bad play to actually attack with the Zoro there. Okay. But now, instead of having to defend my character, he's going to have to attack into me, and let's see what I get. Let's see if I counter out or if I take it. I decide to counter out, and I'm going to swing for 5 here, and I've got a whole nother play lined up for this guy now, right? Okay, he blocked with that. So looking back, so slight play mistake there, slight play mistake. Because my plan was to use this new Nami, guys, pause and read the Nami at the top right corner. We're probably going to be talking about this card all day. This is one of the few new cards we got from OP08 that I think should definitely go in every single red yellow Sabo list. Unless you're running something very specific, with a certain type in mind. But guys, this character in Sabo is outrageously good. Outrageously good. And it's the reason why I countered out of that first attack. I needed to have 5 cards in hand. Because when I play out Nami and trash a card from hand with 5 cards altogether when I started that, 2 cards go from my hand, right? The Nami and the card I trash, which gives me 3 cards left in my hand, and I get to draw a card. So, real quick, back to this game. Big mistake there. I should have popped... So just to be completely, straightforward here, guys, I was going to pop this Boa Hancock to begin with. So that was a play mistake. I was trying to see if they would, block with it, and then, or how do I say this? I was trying to see what was going on. If they blocked with it, then it means they're not really scared to lose it. Do you understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, well, who cares, right? They have 4 cards in hand, and I could have got 2 attacks through to either deal damage or to take cards from my opponent's hand. Okay, don't worry. Let's get back into it. So now, I might change my entire play because of that. No, I choose not to. So I'm going to swing 5 at face here. Now we're going to play out the Nami. We're going to trash a card with trigger, and we're going to KO that Boa, drawing a new card with the Nami's effect. The amount of tempo that just happened there, like the tempo shift, they lost a character. We gained a character. We did have to trash a card, but we actually just cycled it for a new card, that, you know, a potentially better card. Okay. I'll try not to pause too much, guys, but I do want to be very clear, especially in today's video. The nature of today's video is like a full, you know, analytical guide for Red Yellow Sabo, like a comprehensive guide for it. Okay, that's a pretty good follow-up they had there with the Jinbei into the Edward Weevil. But hey, this deck is built to go late game. Notice in my hand here, I've got a 6-cost, 7,000 power, what's his name? Edward Newgate. Pause. I've got Edward Newgate. This is a card that I started playing with ever since I saw someone use it, you know, Efraim. He is someone I've mentioned on the channel before. He got top 16, went 8-2 with a Red Yellow Sabo list. We're going to be analyzing that list later in the video, but I will link the video that I talk about that first in the comment section below. Ever since I saw him run this card in his list, I decided, you know what, let me give it a try. And I've got nothing but good things to say about it, guys, especially going forward. If we're going to be using Bonney and you know, that was a spoiler, I guess, right? Bonney and Nami are the 2 major additions that we got from OP08 for this list. And if we're going to be running Bonney and Nami, this card gets even more value because of how many triggers we're running now. I'm going to talk more about that later in the video. Now, what he allows me to do is put a card from the top of my deck on top of my life, look at my life cards, and then arrange them how I want to, and put 1 card back into the top of my deck. Look at these cards, guys. Look at these cards. So I'll just pull the Koala back to the top of the deck. I'll make my last life card the 0 cost, my second to last one the Frankie, and my third one the Satori. Okay. And for those who are wondering, that real quick, I do have to explain this real quick. So for those who are not aware, when you are setting your top life card, it seems confusing at the bottom there. The very furthest left card is the one that's going to go on top. The middle one obviously is in the middle, and the furthest one to the right goes to the bottom. Okay, just so you're aware. That confused me the first time I did it. Okay, guys. All right, now we're good. Now we're good to go. All right, so I have it set. I have my life set perfectly. If I wanted to, so there was one other play I could have done there. I could have pushed my Edward Newgate at the end of turn back to life and gave my Nami plus 2k. And seeing how aggressive he is here, I kind of wish I had done that. But hey, if he wants to be aggressive, 2 can play at that game. I know what my cards are. Oh, okay, we'll take this. It's a Frankie. I'll draw a card from that. You're going to swing for 5. He has 7 Dawn active here, so he's probably going to bottom deck my stuff with Gravity Blade. I 2k counter out of the last attack. He did not bottom deck the correct target. No target on the board was as important as this Frankie, and you're about to see why, guys. Frankie, now don't get me wrong, they were all good targets technically, but look what you can do with Frankie. It's like, okay, you're going to let me have him? Well, let me show you why you shouldn't have let me have him. I'm going to swing 7 into your 5 here. I'm going to put 1 on my leader, put him back to life, swing 7 into your next 5, and guess what happens when they attack into me again, guys? Oh, I get Frankie again and draw a card from it. Seems good. We'll go 8 into 6 here. Let's see what he does. Okay, he does a 2k, 1k counter out there. So there was definitely an idea. There's definitely something I could have done there differently, where instead of playing out the Sanji, which is a little more, you know, defensive, I could have played out the Zoro and swung 6 into 6. He had 1 card left in his hand, guys. So there was a good chance that would have actually gone through. 6 into the Edward Weevil. Okay, he's going to load up for 9 here. Let's see where he attacks. Does he want to go at face here, or does he want to go at my character? He wants to go at face. Okay, well, why not take this, right? I mean, honestly, I could block this one and then take the next one, but I think I should just take this one to see what I draw from this guy. Yep, and I get a 0 cost 3k. That's actually very important. That's actually very relevant. But guys, do y'all see where this is a real problem now for my opponent, where he did not bottom deck my Frankie? Because guess what I'm going to do this turn? Guess what I'm going to do right here? So he's going to swing for 11. Okay, we'll just take this. I know what it is. I knew it was a 0-cost 3K, right? I said it there. So I trashed the Luffy. We're going to talk about Luffy afterwards. I think I'm done with that card for now for this version of the deck. Okay, I'm just going to keep eating up your board because I get to gain a life every single turn. Now we're going to go 8 and a 6. That card's out of here. If he saved it, then it would be a mistake because I have a 6K on my leader ready to swing. But hey, all right, now it's time to attack my opponent, right? Now it's time to start attacking. We're going to swing for 7 here. Honestly, I think I should have swung for 5 first with the Sanji and then swung for 7. But I'm in such a commanding position this game now, I don't know if I can lose. All right, so he's going to load up for 6. He's going to attack into the whatever his name is there, the Zoro. I'm going to let it go because I already have a Kid and Killer to replace that one. Right, so Kid and Killer, once our opponent's at 2 or less life, Kid and Killer is a souped-up version of Zoro. Okay, swing for 7. They're going to go ahead and counter all the way out. We're going to, and I think I did that a little bit wrong because I don't want to, hopefully I fix it. I need to swing with my my Kid and Killer now. Yeah, so I feel like I did not do that correctly because I should have swung with Kid and Killer first here. It still probably doesn't matter, all things considered. But right here, I'm going to swing for 7. Okay, so he was able to save it. Oh, well. So we'll go ahead and play out the other blocker and just pass turn. Well, excuse me, life a card, give plus 2K to my blocker. And now we can pass the turn. So what is he going to be able to do in this situation, right? He has 1 card in hand. He's going to be able to set his top 5 from his deck with Perona. But, hey, you can have literally whatever you want to. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, we'll just let that thing go. Please, hey, attack into my life. I dare you, right? I dare you. And he's like, oh, I can't, because I'll give him a Sanji and then I'll just automatically lose. But the truth is he's going to automatically lose anyway. We're going to swing in for 7 here. Let's see what he has. I probably could have just gone 9 and then swing 9, swing 11. It's all right. I've got a Kid and Killer in hand. But technically speaking, I should have swung 9, swung 11. But here you go. Swing 7, swing 5, and then swing all that. It would have actually even been more, but they left before I should, because I could have actually... I did a bunch of things out of sequence there, because I should have swung for at least 6 with my leader, so that way I could top a life the Sanji, give +2 to this guy. That was just crazy shenanigans there. Okay, now, let's go to the next game, because we've got quite a few games to get through, guys. We got 10 games to get through, okay? We got another game against Doffy, and then we're going to move on to a game versus Reiju. Okay, speed, 2x, and we are good to go. Yeah, the volume's already off on this one. Okay, so guys, this game I actually drew Bonney, right? That's good, because I had it in the last game, I just never drew it. And it's actually an extremely, extremely powerful card for red-yellow Sabo, especially against decks that don't run a ton of removal. So we're going to swing for 5 here. There's no point in playing out the Bonney first, because even if he had taken it, I don't get to draw 2, trash 1, because I have to attach 1 Dawn to the Bonney in order to get her effect. Now, let me show you guys here what Bonney can do. I think this is the game where it's like, okay, there's now a new turn 3 play you can do with Bonney that I think is just so good. But I might not be able to do it this game because he played out that character. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, so we will swing for 7 at face because I'm trying to cash in on my Bonney early here. Let's see if they want to let me draw. And then if they let me draw 2, trash 1. Now... Okay, trash a card. Now I can actually attack into his Crocodile for 7. Just waiting for him to defend it or let it go. I think he does defend if I remember correctly. He should. If he can, he probably should, because he's losing a lot of tempo right now, right? He's losing a lot of tempo. Okay, so he goes +2, +1, and now I can bring the Bonney back to the top of my life. What does that do? So I already did a draw 2, trash 1 with Bonney. Now... when they attack enemy, I get to do another draw 2, trash 1. Like that. I don't know, guys. What card lets you draw 4, trash 2 while also attacking and gaining life along the way? Watch this. He's probably really perplexed right now. Like, why did you defend out of all that? Because I'm going to swing 6 there and I'm going to play this out. Look at that stack, guys. Look what I'm able to adjust my life with that Edward Weevil. Okay, or Edward Weevil, excuse me, Edward Newgate. That is why I was countering out so aggressively. And if you're going to play this list the way I think you should play it, having the Namis, you want a low hand size. Having the Edward Newgate, you want a lot of life. So countering out aggressively is definitely the way to go, even though we run a lot of triggers. You'll see, I think I'm running 33 triggers in this list, guys. Okay. So let's see how I have to adjust this. I go ahead and put the Kid and Killer on top of my life. I probably should have grabbed the Zoro, but then again, I already have one in hand, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So I set my top life cards. I still want to be able to get that card first, the Bonney, to draw 2 trash one and fix some stuff. They play out a Boa Hancock there. Very strong, locking down my, my Newgate. And here we go. They're going to swing in. I'm going to take that, draw 2 trash one. I knew I was getting the Kid and Killer, but I also don't really care too much about it right now because they're at 4 life. I'm nowhere near being able to use my Kid and Killer. So they're going to swing for 5 more. I don't have a ton of cards in hand, but I know what card was next. I set it there with Nami, and now I'm going to pop a card. So I think the right call here is actually to pop the Doflamingo, so that way I can take that character off the board and start swinging at the Jimbei for free. Okay. Let's see what they do now. They should just pass. They don't have any Dawn left. Okay, here we go. Drew another Nami, guys. Hey, you know, that shouldn't even be that like crazy to believe, though. I've done a draw 4 trash 2 this game. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, man, outrageously good. Okay, so I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. And guys, if you like playing decks that have a ton of different play lines, this version of Red Yellow Sabo we're going to be looking at today for OP08, you want to talk about play lines, there's like an infinite number of them. And they're all really, really solid. Okay, right here, I'm going to play this out, pull that up, yeah, pull back I've got, okay, we're going to talk about loops later, but right now I have a Zoro loop going, right? Last game I had a Frankie loop going, and that's kind of how this deck runs, is you get these loops going with characters where it's just like, man, I kind of, you know, it's not that you feel bad for your opponent, but it's like, I don't know how they're supposed to deal with this. Just being completely honest, I don't know how they're supposed to deal with this. So we're going to go ahead and trash a Nami there, popping the Edward Weevil, or excuse me, play out the Nami, pop the Edward Weevil. We're just cycling through cards in our deck here. We're going to swing 5 at life. Let's see what they do here. Okay, so at this point, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up and swing 8 at 8. Kind of a little bit sloppy there. I should have swung for 6 with my leader, but I didn't think enough in advance. That's an important thing in this game, is to do things. Make sure you plan out your entire turn there. I should have at least swung 6 into face, and then if they had taken it, by the way, we draw 2 trash 1, and we can still do the same play, swinging 8 into the Boa Hancock. Okay, if they block out whatever, and we throw this card back into our life. We have not been able to swing with our Edward Newgate, not even one time yet, guys. Not even once. That's all right. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Because, hey, that card's just lurking. It's just looming on the board like, hey, I'm ready to go. Now, unless they have a Gravity Blade, you know, Raging Tiger, that could really mess things up for us. You know, that could really spoil all of our fun. Okay, they're going to swing for 7, 8. They're going to swing for 8. Are they going to use Leader Effect or no? Are they going to play out another Boa Hancock? Man, no. Okay, they don't. Excuse me. I was like, man, I don't remember that part of this game. They swing in. We take it. What was it? Was it the Bonney? It was the Bonney, so draw 2 trash 1. We're setting our cards here. They swing in for 9. There's an argument to counter out of this. But I think I just took it, though. I think I just took it. Okay, now they have 4 Dawn left to play with. They play out a Mihawk. Okay, but here's the problem. They have 1 card left in their hand. That's it. They only have 1 card left in hand. So now I can start gobbling up this board. Okay, this board has pretty much no chance. We're going to swing 5 into 5, because if they save that, then we get to go full in on the others. We'll swing 8 into 8. Okay, let's see here. Go ahead and play out. I need to do things in a specific order here to make sure I can get, you know, because I do want to remove the Mihawk. I don't want that Mihawk on the board anymore, but I also really want that Boa Hancock to go bye-bye. Okay, so I'm just doing a little bit of math in my head. That's why it's taking a while. Because like I said, guys, notice the hand size discrepancy, like the difference here. Like, okay, I have 7 cards in my hand, and they have 1. And if they save this, they have 0. Okay, they have no card. They have 1 card in hand. They were not able to save it. Play out the Nami there, popping the Mihawk, lifing the Edward Newgate. They Gravity Blade both my Namis. Very rude. And right here, I guess I could counter out of this, but then I'd have no 2K counters for the next turn. So I don't think it was worth it. Okay, our turn, right? We know what's coming next, though. So we know their top card now is, the top card of their deck is a, what's his name? Kaido. So we're coming in for 7. They can't block out of this. We're coming in for 7 more. They can't block out of this. Well, they might have been able to block out of that. Of course, they get a Gravity, or excuse me, I can't remember, a Red Rock. That messed up all of my plans right there, guys. That messed up everything I was trying to do. But hey, now it's over. There's no saving it. If he wants to play out the 10 cost Kaido, then I get 2 attackers. He could notice, okay, it's his turn. We know he has his 10 cost Kaido. Excuse me. But he can't play it. He can't play out the 10 cost Kaido because he needs to find a blocker. Okay, he never found a blocker. Now the game's just over. You can have this rusher, and then we're going to load it for 15 and swing at face. Hey, he almost found the blocker, right? He almost found the blocker. But honestly, I don't know if he realizes or not, but it wouldn't have mattered because we have another, what's his name, in hand. I'm just letting him set his top 5 cards right now. That's what we're waiting on. But we had another rusher in hand. There was no getting around this. We could have just swung 9, and gotten through the 2 cards. Okay, GG. That was a fun one. Now, that's enough Doffy for now. We do have one more game of Doffy at the end we'll look at. But now it's time to check out a game versus Reiju. Okay, I'm going to try to go through as many meta leaders as possible with this list, so you guys can at least get an idea of how to play against each one of them. Okay, now this pull, I got a pretty good pull here, guys. Getting the early Bonney, playing it on turn 2, going first. We took first away from Reiju. Now, I think Reiju doesn't mind going second, but I think they want to go first and get their stage rolling, but they didn't get a stage this game. Okay, he's not used to playing against the new red-yellow Sabo, guys. Notice the card that I have at the top right corner there, Nami. Nami's going to say, you know what? You're not getting that card. And that's why it's important that we played a card out on turn 2, and we countered out aggressively. I have 5 cards in hand, so now I can pop that card, trashing a card, drawing a card. Doing a full cycle and everything, guys. Really, really important here. So we're going to swing for 5 first. Honestly, I would counter out of this if I were him, no matter what. I mean, even if, what's the worst that, yeah. Okay, he did not counter out of it, but hey, that's fine. He's down to 2 life. Now we're getting killers online for later. We'll take it. We pop that guy, and then we're going to, and we got a Sanji from the cycle with Nami. So we literally recycled, or we traded out a Morley, which we already had a 3-drop for this game. We traded out the Morley for a Sanji. It's like a perfect trade. Okay, they swing in for 6 here. I do take that. Honestly, I maybe should have countered out, to be completely honest, but at the same time, I don't think it's a big deal. All right, so here we go. I think it's time for some fireworks here, guys. I'm trying to do this exactly right. I want to make sure I can get everything going that I need to. I swing for 6. They give me a 2K counter. We're going to play out the Zoro here. Swing for 7. I've got more coming. I've got a lot more of this coming. We're going to swing for 7 here. They 2K, what do they do? 2K, 1K to get out of it. Swing for 7 more. How many? Okay, he takes it. Now I get to draw 2 trash one with Bonney. And now I just pass. I don't have to swing with Bonney now. We're good. Guys, that Bonney is a menace on the board. I'm telling you right now. And if they're not running enough removal, I know that Reiju runs Niji, but that doesn't really matter, right? We don't really care about Niji that much because, yeah, if you bounce it back to our hand, we can just replay it. It's only 3 Dawn. Really, it's like a 4 Dawn investment to get the full value from it. Okay, so he's gonna try to get defensive here. He swings in. That pudding, it did hurt a little bit. It was not the craziest pudding I've ever seen, but it definitely hurt a little bit. Okay, so I have 9 Dawn here. I think it's time to start dropping Rayleighs. Now, I will say this, guys. The Rayleigh slot we're going to talk about later, I was experimenting with that one. That can be a Shanks, that can be a 7-Lin, that can be a Rayleigh. We'll talk more about that as we get into the second part of this video, where we go into all the theory crafting and, what do you call it? Just, deck theory crafting. I don't know what to call it. Brainstorming and all that. So, all right, here we go. They play out a Reiju. They're drawing cards now. They've got their stage online. They're trying to set up the 4 cost to get in the 7 cost here. If they have it, they should do it. They have it. Now they can play out the 7 cost guy, -2 to the Nami, smash into the Nami. So right here, I think I should have countered out. Or I think I should counter out if I don't. Yeah, and I do. I do counter out. So now it's like, okay, now he can swing in for 5. Honestly, I still think I should counter out here. Because I don't think I do, but hear me out. So since I let it go, excuse me, since I let that card go, he was able to swing 7 into my face. I would rather him have to swing 1 more attack into the Nami, and then I get to keep 4 life, and I can sit a little more comfortably for next turn. Not like a massive play mistake or anything, but I do think there was a slightly more accurate play there. Okay, he does have a blocker. He knows we have a Rayleigh. We played it last turn and lifed it, right? So he knows we have Rayleigh. So we're going to do minus there. We're going to pop the blocker. We're going to put this on there. And right here, I think I honestly should just go everything into this Ikiji. 6 into 4, he lets it go. We're going to life that, swing for 7. Does he have it? Does he have it? Okay, so let's talk about value. Guys, I understand we did get hit with a pudding earlier in the game. Yes, we did get hit with a pudding. However, that Bonney has drawn us 6 cards this turn, or this game, guys, because it went through 3 life. And then if we can life this next turn, we might get 8 cards out of 1 card. The value, guys, that value is insane. Okay, and he's a 6K this turn, so if they want to attack into him, be my guest. I don't really care. that card has more than paid for itself. That card has more than paid for itself. They play out a Reiju. They're searching. I know what they're looking for. They're looking for more 4-cost guys, the 4-cost Ikiji. Like, that's what they're going for. Someone corrected me in the comment section. I think it's Ichiji or something like that. Ichiji, something like that. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm not good with the pronunciations. My apologies. Okay, so swing 5 into here. I'll give it a 2K and force 1 more attack into it because it was just 1 card. They're going to swing in for 5. We'll let that one go. Now they can swing with leader for 5. They played the Reiju this turn, but then they'll be able to swing for 7 with the other guy. But my question is this: are you going to survive a 15? And he goes up to 12. That's it. How many people can just survive a 15? I've got 6 cards in hand. I can get out of an 8K attack. Or excuse me, I can get out of a 7K attack. I can get to 8. You know, and I knew this guy was countering pretty aggressively. Not really super aggressively, but like his hand size was going up and down the whole game. So the chances of him having just nothing but 2K counters in hand at the end there, because I think he had 6 cards in hand. All of them would have had to be 2Ks and then like maybe a 1K. And he'd have been able to get out of it, but he didn't have that. Or did he even have less than that? Let me see. No, he had 6. So he had 6 cards in hand. All right, good game. Really good stuff there. Guys, the new feel for Red Yellow Sabo, it is aggressive, and it's also very, very well balanced. Like, you have a very strong early game, and because of the nature of our leader effect, our late game's not exactly bad. And we have a lot of options now between Shanks, Sevenlin, Rayleigh, technically Yamato, even though I don't really run Yamato. Like, that's an option as well. Katakuri, potentially. Like, there are a lot of options now. Even 10-cost Ace or something crazy if you want. Okay, they swing for 5. I need to aggressively counter out, but I was not able to play out a turn 1 play or a turn 2 for this matter either. Oh, actually, excuse me. What am I talking about? Of course, I do have a turn 2 play, so that's good. So they're countering out very aggressively. I go ahead and just plop down a Lindbergh, and we're about to start eating this board up, right? Like, you see, guys, I have a Koala in hand. Some people run Flampe there, but you know, big shout out to my guy Mike. We're always theory crafting these decks together for Sabo, these different variations. I'll talk about that more as we get into the deck tech portion of the video. But this version's running a little bit of extra KO. I'm running Lindberghs, you know, okay, and then I get that. I am going to use that to pop the Derringer, and now I can have a pretty aggressive turn here. Okay. So I swing for 6 here. He didn't have a Dawn rested. That's why I did. Okay, pause. This is an explosive turn, guys. He did not have a Dawn active, I meant to say. So I didn't have to worry about him tapping down my Lindbergh, right? Because I was able to KO his Dellinger before the turn ended with my Nami trigger. That Nami trigger is very strong, guys, even if you can't get the card draw from it. So swing 6, swing 7, popping your Bonney, and this is 7 at your face. Okay, your turn. You know, that's a pretty nice turn. And I had... excuse me. I still have 4 life left. Okay, even after they swung. Okay, now right here, I need to counter out pretty aggressively, in my opinion. Let's see if I do it. Yes, because I want to play out my Newgate next turn and actually just go deeper into this game. All right, so let's see what happens here. I'm just trying to do a little bit of math, of course. He does have a Dawn active this time, so he's going to swing. I'm going to swing in for 7. He's going to rest my guy. That's fine. I don't care. I think he should have blocked and countered, honestly, but who knows? Okay, here we go. I can start setting my life now. We'll put the Zoro back on top of our deck, and we're gonna have a Nami, Frankie, Satori. I think it was in the end. I couldn't see it in time. So I've got nothing but gas coming from life. Because remember, guys, I run a 33 trigger deck. Okay, swing for 5. We're gonna counter out of this. Make him attack him with the Basil if he really wants it. He might not care, to be honest. He might not care. He's got 9 Dawn active. What's he going to play? Maybe Zoro or something? I don't really know, to be honest. Play out a Cavendish. Okay. Play out another Basil Hawkins. Seems good. But that does not change our game plan, does it? I think we're going to have to drop the Koala here. Smash in for 7 with Lindbergh. Actually, let's not telegraph anything though, right? I could play it in that order, but why telegraph? I'm going to swing for 6. Okay, this turn just got really spicy. So from there on, so first of all, I do think I should have swung for 7. That's one thing I think I should have done differently, but that's okay. We'll swing 7 in the face here. I'm actually trying to just like end the game right here when I think I'm kind of rushing. I could have just swung 7s into these Basil Hawkins and everything would have been fine. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to pause at the end of this turn. Okay, I was already going to do this. Play out the koala, smash for 7 into a Basil Hawkins, popping the Cavendish, and then I could still swing in for 9. So that would have been one more card out of their hand if I had done things in a little bit better order. That's the one. So let me pause for just a second. Whoops. Hang on. Did I pause it? Yeah, I did. Okay. That scared me, guys. I had to look at the recording. Like, wait, did I just turn off my recording? No, we're good. We're good. Okay. One thing that I think I should have done differently there is just put one more Dawn on my leader to swing 7 for the first attack to see what they did. And then I think every attack should have been into the Basil Hawkins from then onward. But hey, we still got rid of one Basil. We got rid of the Cavendish. My board is still strong, but I have no counter in hand. So whatever he swings into, it's dead, right? Okay, now let's get back into this game. 5 in the face. I will take that. I'm not upset about that. That means he's probably going to drop Doffy, which, yeah, that's fine. Hey, that's completely fine. So right here, going to go ahead and play this card out. I do want to get a little bit of extra value here. I want to try to take him down to 0. That's kind of my goal. Okay, swing for 8 into 5. This is probably going to go through. Yep. We're going to life the that guy. Then we're going to swing in for 8 more with the koala. He's going to have to give me a 2K blocking with the, what's his name? With the Basil. Okay, but this game's, you know, he still has a lot of stuff he needs to make up for here. So swing 10, he'll probably swing 10 into 7. Sure. And then play out a Zorro. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what he does now. We're going to swing for 7. Do you want to give me your blocker and some counter power? And if the answer is no, then it's time to just load everything into Luffy. Oof. Okay, he's probably going to regret that. What do y'all think? All right, swing for 9. Let's see if he's got it. Sure, tap down the koala. He does not have it. Okay, he does not have it. Now, he had some gas in hand. Next turn, I was pretty much dead meat, right? If he somehow survived at the end there, I don't think I'm going to survive a, I don't know, it would have been close. Because what was my last cards were Frankie and Satori, so I would have gotten 2K. But no, it would have depended. It would have all depended on how he attacked and stuff. But getting through 5 life is not easy. Getting through 5 life is not easy, even with a Zorro and a Doffy on your board. Playing out the Hody would have gave him a chance for sure. But if I get out of just one attack, then that's game, right? So in other words, if he swings for 5 with Bonney first, I need to 1K counter out with my Lindbergh, and then I have to hope he does not try to go all in with the whatever his name is, the Basil Hawkins. Okay, next game. We got a game versus Purple Luffy. OP08, Purple Luffy. Speed 2x. And we're good to go. So notice I have Shanks this game. The only real difference you'll see in any of these games is I'm either running Shanks or I'm running Rayleigh. That's really the only big differences you'll see in any of these games I'm playing. The entire rest of the core of the deck is all the same. So this guy gets an insane start. We do get a trigger to help us out a little bit. Swinging for 6 there. We're going to take that. And hey, now we're actually entering into my area of the game where I'm just going to start fighting your board and eating up your hand. Let's see what he does. I don't think he knows what's about to hit him here. 5 Dawn left on Red Yellow Sabo, guys. Yep, that's going to be a Zorro, Life Zorro, +2 to something else. There you go. You know, it's such a high value play, guys. It's such a high value play. Swing for 5. I shouldn't take this. Yeah, I think. Well, I do. I do end up taking it. Swing for 7. Okay, we get a cracker trigger. We'll trash a card from hand here. I think I should just trash the Bonney. Yeah, trash the Bonney. Kaido, pop something. That there. Okay. All right. Whatever. You know, seems good. Seems good. That was a very strong play by my opponent there. We'll swing for 8 into 6. Ends up going away. I guess they have no counter power. That's like what's going through my head, because I think they should have saved that card. But I don't know. I guess I would have swung 7 into it again with the other one. Swing 5. That, you know, yeah. I have 2 life. He couldn't go all in. Okay. Magellan, sure, I'll lose a Dawn there. I'm up to 9. So I can't play out the Shanks. I'm like, man, well, shoot, there goes that plan. No, I'm just kidding. That's still not the plan here. I mean, because if I take out the Shanks, he still has 2 big attacks he can just take me out with. So right here, we gotta make some decisions. We got some big decisions we gotta make here. So we'll swing in for 8. Swing in for 8 after lifing that. And I'm basically saying, hey, you're gonna have to beat me this turn. Right, that's basically what it comes down to. You're going to have to get me right here, but I have 11k in counter. So swing for 9. I'm like, okay, he can't ramp a Dawn this turn. I'll take that. Then he's going to swing for 9 more. Now that one I am going to have to counter out of, and now he has 1 Dawn active, which is unfortunate, but guys, let's look at his hand. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 2. He had 6k in hand. I'm just going 15 to face. There's no other play I'm doing right there. It's just 15 to the dome. You know what I mean? And hey, sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles, guys. I saw right there, like, okay, I can't really transition into the late game the way I wanted to, especially after that Magellan smacking my Dawn down and not letting me get rid of the Kaido in time with my Shanks. So, you know, in that situation, it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to do my next best option, which is just race him. And since we have rush characters, Sabo can do that. Red Yellow Sabo is such a versatile leader, they can actually do that. Like, if they need a race, they can, sort of. Not the best race deck, but they can if they need to. Or if they need to go late game, they can do that as well. All right, next game we got against Red Purple Luffy. Okay, let me go speed 2x. There we go. All right, pretty good. I like my starting hand. I just wish I could have gone first. I guess it wouldn't have mattered as much against Red Purple Luffy, though, because I can't swing on turn 1. So I guess going second actually kind of helped me, because I got to swing 6, or not on turn 1, on turn 2 I meant. I got to swing 6 on turn 2 and develop the body, and now it's their turn. They're going to swing for 6. I think we got to give them a 2k here, because they're going to swing 7 afterwards. We get a Nami. Seems good. And that was a slightly greedy play. Let me pause it real quick. So that was a slightly greedy play, playing out. He did it in the correct sequencing, you know, by attaching 1 Dawn to the leader and all that stuff. Like, that was done correctly, but it was a little bit greedy. I think he should have just tried to swing for 6 and then play out the Bon Carré and then threaten a Radical Beam, because if I hit him 1 time, he goes to 2 life and it's active. But at the same time, you know, I don't know if Red Purple Luffy's going to be running Radical Beam. Oh, actually, excuse me, that's an OP09. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there. All right, here we go. So we got the Bonney down now. I think it's time to start smacking into this Zoro. He does not choose to save it, nor should you ever, to be honest. Unless it's the exact card you have on board to go for lethal next turn, I do not think you should be using that card. Okay, so right here, why is this thing not going away at the bottom? There we go. Okay, it's back. Is it going to go away? Go away. There. All right, so we play out the Zoro and swing for 6. They counter out. They swing for 8 into 4. Yeah, I'm not protecting that thing. Unfortunate. But hey, the Bonney didn't get to draw any cards that game, but it did eat an attack. It ate an 8k attack, right, and got a card out of hand. It really kind of got 2 cards out of hand, right, because they didn't want to give me anything. All right, so I think we're setting up for a next turn. Oh, actually, they just have that much Dawn right now. That's crazy, or that much life, or power on their leader. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. They were an 8,000 power leader there. We play out the Lindbergh. They play out a Lin. That new Lin is pretty good for them, guys. He's going to give me a life. I will take that. I will take the life. But here's the thing. If I already see a Edward Newgate and I see a Charlotte Lin, I'm starting to do the math in my head. They might not be running the 10-cost Luffy. Or maybe they just haven't seen it. Look, they played out another Nami. They're searching for it. They got a Rad Beam there. They're searching for the next Luffy. Like the 10-cost Luffy, I think. But they're not finding it, I guess. I'm not sure. Jet Pistol there. There's no relevant target. There's definitely no relevant target. I'd rather trash it with Nami to draw a card. Okay, so now it's time to swing 13 into 9. I know he has a Rad Beam. We've seen it from the search. I will play out the Nami here, trash the Jet Pistol, like I said, to at least draw some cards here. I get another Nami. Not exactly great, but hey, it is what it is. And then I think I should just play out the Morley here. Yep, just get something on the board. I go ahead and throw the Shanks back to life, saying, hey, if you'd like to attack into me, that's fine. Okay, but he's going for... it's a good thing I did put that card back to life. Look, he could have actually gone for lethal this turn. He actually could have gone for lethal this turn. So we are going to go ahead and pitch a card here, or trash a card to get the Lindbergh into play. Let's see what happens here. I know they have a Rad Beam. I know one of the cards in their hand is a Rad Beam. So now it just comes down to how do I want to do this? How do I want to survive out of this? And I'm just hoping and praying that he does not have a a 10 cost Luffy coming. Because if he gets 10 cost Luffy, the game's over. I have no out. I have no out. Okay, so the last card we know now is a Rad Beam. So we'll just blast into this Lindbergh, or excuse me, into the whatever, the Linlin. And I choose not to attack. I'm just trying not to give him any cards to hand. I don't want him to have any cards. 9, we'll take that. We knew what it was. Plays out a Sanji. And now, I think at this point, I've pretty much kind of won the game, right? Because we're going to go 6s across the board. That's going to be 4 cards out of hand / life. Or off the characters off the board or whatever. Okay, and I still have the Kid and Killer. Okay. Yep, just keep going. We'll do that. Oh, I forgot about that play. That's a nice one there. That's a nice one. Okay. So, slight sequencing issue here. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Swing for 7. Play this guy out. Swing for 7. He's got a Rad Beam. We knew it. Okay. And now what do you do? I mean, this is worst case scenario for this red-purple Luffy. Honestly, I think the 9 Lin is cool, but I think it would just be... Pause. GG. Yeah, see, notice he has a Rad Beam and a Badminton's Kick Course in hand, but that doesn't matter, right? I'm going to swing 4 times. I'm swinging at him for 4 times. He can only get out of 2 of the attacks, right? He can only counter out of 2, right? Because he either has to do a counter with the one's going to be Rad Beam, the other's going to be the what's his name, Boncray Bentham, or the Boncray plus the 0 cost. So that's still just 1 attack, and then he has no cards left in hand, and then he has the blocker. So I've got 4 attacks. It's just simple math at that point. All right, good game to my opponent, though. That was a fun one. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't know about 9-cost Linlin. I don't know if that's the right play for the deck. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We'll have to see what happens. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below for red-purple Luffy. All right, now we got a game versus Pudding. We got a game versus purple-yellow Pudding, because I do expect to see quite a few of these guys. Guys, I think you're going to see quite a few purple-yellow Puddings in the West for OP08. They swing for 6. Okay, very nice. We're going to go ahead and take that. Never punished. We'll go ahead and cheat out the Sanji there. They play a Viola. I don't really care about that. We're just going to we have to get aggressive here. Because if this game goes late, yeah, that's going to be an issue. I'm actually starting to think that I shouldn't have tossed I should have tossed the Morley instead of the what's his name there, the Cracker. That's okay. We'll swing for 6. We'll establish the Morley. It's fine. We're getting a lot of counter out of their hand. They're going to swing for 8 into our 5. That was not what I was hoping they would not do that, right? Like, that was what I hoped they did not do. So we'll swing for 5. If they want to use the beige trigger now, I can save my character without attacking. Sequencing is very important, guys. So the reason I chose not to attack with Morley first is because if I attacked with Morley first, right, and they use beige and make it where my leader cannot attack now, well, my Morley's tapped. And now they're just going to swing into that next turn and I lose a character. But if I do it the other way around, I can swing for 5 with my leader, right? And then they can beige, and now my Morley's not going to get attacked. Or if they choose not to do the beige, maybe they choose to take it to hand. Okay, swing 5. And now they have to use a card from hand. So that was the logic behind that play. We're going to slam down a new gate here because we need to set some cards. Okay, I got a 0 cost at the end of my life. That's really good. Satori and then Morley. All right, so we're not in the worst shape in the world here. For 5, I want to get this card into play right away. I trashed the Luffy because I have a Zoro in my hand. This thing keeps staying up at the bottom, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why it keeps staying up down there. My apologies. It's acting really weird today. Okay, they play out the Linlin. Are they going to give me a life? They choose to give me the Newgate, the Edward Newgate back. That's fine. Okay, but guys, I think it's time to just go aggressive, right? I mean, like, that's the game plan. That's my game plan. Is just go aggressive. And if he drops down a 10 Lin this turn and tries to go for game, I have 2 2K counters in hand. So I 2K counter out of the Pudding attack. I 2K counter out of the Perospero attack. And then I just, I take the hit from the Lin and I lose 1 life from the other one. And I'm at 3 life now too. So it's like, okay, sure, here we go. You're going to have to take out all my characters if you're trying to, okay. And he drops 10 Lin. It's like, dude, you're not getting any of my characters, right? Okay, and then I give him that one. That's weird. Oh, because I couldn't save it because of the Lin. That's what it was. Sorry, I forgot. In the order he did that was actually well played. Okay, so here we go. Swing in for 7. Because I do have a I do have a Zoro to swing in for damage as well. But at the same time, we definitely messed that up. That was a sequencing issue. So he takes that. Not the worst thing in the world. I just would lose my Zoro. Okay, swing for 9. See if he has it. Almost. And then I think double Katakuri. Yep, I remember this game. Okay, so right there, guys, what I was saying was a sequencing issue. I guess it technically wasn't. What I was saying I should have done was swing for 7 with my Zoro first, and then life the Zoro and swing with my Morley. However, I still don't think that's probably not actually the right play, if you think about it. I don't know. The way I did it worked out just fine. It kept as few bodies on the board as possible that couldn't get hit by something like a, what's it called? Thunderbolt or Nami or whatever. So that works. Okay. We got a game versus Lucci now. We got a game versus Lucci. And guys, I honestly think that Red Yellow Sabo can go toe-to-toe with any leader in the game right now. And if there's a leader that you're struggling with, just say something in the comment section below or hop on the Discord. You know, we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about what kind of revisions can be made to your deck so that you have a better chance into said deck. Okay? We got a Frankie there. I choose to go ahead and pull the trigger on that early and just draw a card. Just cycle them out. I'm trying to get through as many cards as I can to get more options, more and more options in my hand. Okay, they play out a Lucci here. But, see, that's... I'm so mad at myself right now. Pause. Okay, pause. I'm so mad at myself. First of all, for that blunder as well. I guess I'm going to jet pistol. Okay, go back. This is why you should counter out aggressively. Let me go back. One more. Right here. Okay. Why wouldn't I just, pause, why wouldn't I just counter out right here? Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have drawn the Nami anyway because the actual Frankie is what got me closer to the Nami draw. But why wouldn't I just counter out here so that way in case I do top deck a Nami, I can pop anything he plays on a 4-Dawn turn and draw the card, cycle the card and everything. I'm just saying. Like I said, now hear me out. When this, let me play it out. I get the Frankie, and I use it to cycle through a card. So that Zoro is what I would have drawn for the turn, this turn, after countering out. Okay, they're going to play out the Rob Lucci. They can't pop the Bonney because they didn't have any cards in their trash. We're going to swing for 5 here, and then we're going to swing for 5 more, and then we are going to jet pistol this Lucci off the board. I don't want to deal with him right now. I want to keep my board presence. Jet pistol doesn't have a ton of value in this matchup anyway, so getting it out of the way now was like, okay, sure. Swing for 5. Again, why am I not countering? I don't have an answer for you. Okay, pause. I don't have an answer for you why I'm not countering. It doesn't make sense because I have a Nami in my hand. I must have been getting tired at this point of the, you know, guys. All right, we got to put some things in perspective real quick. When I was recording these games, I recorded them all in like one day. I think I went through something like 70 to 80 games in a day, and these, you know, average time of the game is probably like 5 minutes, right? So 5 minutes. That's, let me see, math. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, so 12. So I was probably averaging around 10 games an hour, and I did it for 8 hours straight. Okay, I had an entire day off, and I pumped through about 70 to 80 games on the sim, guys. It was wild, and this Lucci game was towards the end of the night, and guys, it whooped my butt, guys. It absolutely kicked my butt. Okay, now let's get back into this game. I've got a Sanji now. I did get very fortunate to get a trigger there, but I think I should have countered out. So we're going to swing for 7. We're going to swing for 7. We're going to swing for 7. The old 777 attack is usually pretty good. That's usually pretty good. And the reason I swing with Sanji there is that Sanji's not going to survive. Look at that. Okay, he's gone, right? He's either going to hit it with a Who's Who or a Jack. There's no way it survives. Okay, I take the 5K hit. Now he's going to swing for 7. Again, I'm getting punished for playing so recklessly here, so carelessly. So I do apologize, guys, for the way that I played this game. It's just not playing well. There's no way around it. Okay, swing for 8. I'm actually just kind of going for broke here. When the correct play, pause, the correct play this turn would have been swing 8 into Brook, 8 into Brook, life the Zoro. The Brook's gone. There's no way he's letting that survive. Not after 2, you know, that he'd have to go over it twice. And then he doesn't get an extra card in hand, right, from taking the hit. Or did he take a hit? I think he took one of them. I don't know. Either way, again, just playing so carelessly, so recklessly. Now, one thing I will say, though, one thing that is going in my favor is I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11K in counter in my hand right now. So I'm definitely not at any jeopardy of losing the game this turn, but I can definitely fake like I am. You know what I mean? Okay, swing for 9. We'll take that. Then he'll probably swing for 11 here. Should have swung for 11. Unless he's going to do a 1-cost event to draw. No, I think you just swing for 11 there, to be honest, guys. I'm sorry, you just swing for 11. There's no way around it. All right, so we'll swing 8 into 5 here. Okay, he 2K, 1K, whatever there. Don't worry, though. We're fine. We're going to go and swing for 9 into 6. That card's out of here. We gain a life. We just have to get out of 1 attack. And guess what, guys? We have 3, 6, 8, 10. We can get out of a 15K attack. All right, so we'll go ahead and take this. He's going to load up for 5 here, go to 13. He's going to think he's got it. He does not have it. We're going to... Did we manner there? Hang on. Did we manner? Yeah, we got to 15 when we only need to get to 14. That's not the worst thing I've ever done, right? Not the worst thing. Okay, but we're going to swing for 8. We're going to swing here. If he's got it, he's got it. If not, he doesn't. Okay, that was like, okay, that game was getting very much back and forth. You know, it's like, holy cow, as long as I can survive this turn, I get it. And then he felt the same way. And then I was like, no, if I can survive, then it just kept going back and forth. That was a good game. But like I said, I think I could have played that so much more controlled, and it would not have even been close. Because if I smash into the Brook a turn earlier, I get to continuously go up 1 life every single turn, and then I can start picking away at the cards in his hand, getting rid of stuff. Because look what he has left in hand, guys. Like, he has like nothing left in his hand, and that's after me giving him, you know, cards from life, not going for the board. So that was a little bit sloppy, but we still got there. We still got there. Jack, very strong. Jack is very strong, guys. Okay, we got a game versus Enel. Like I said, guys, I tried to get all the different meta matchups. We've gone through Lucci now. We're about to go through Enel. We've gone through PLuffy, Red Purple Luffy, Bonney, Doffy. I tried to get all of them for you guys. I know people always ask, let me make sure, yeah, speed's on 2x. People always ask, like, hey, you know, I want to see more meta matchups. It is what it is, guys. Sometimes I can get them, sometimes I can't. But for this kind of video where I wanted it to be a comprehensive like deck builder's guide, I wanted y'all to have that chance to see it. You know, to actually see the meta matchups. So we put down a Bonney. We swing for 5. They let us draw 2, trash 1. And then I don't swing with Cracker. He plays out Gadatsu. I knew a card was going to go. I still think I should have probably swung with Gadatsu, without Cracker, excuse me. But, oh well. Okay, let's see what happens here. And I aggressively am taking life, so I go ahead and pull this right away. So, all right, I set the Frankie as my next card in life, and then Nami is under that. They're going to swing for 6. I think we just give him a 2K here. Actually, oh, that's right, excuse me. We just set our life as Frankie. What am I talking about? So now it is time for pure value, guys. It is time to get some pure value here. I'm playing so greedy right now. Okay, at least okay, so another situation where my opponent does not realize how much more important Frankie is than any other trigger until OP09. Okay, because Frankie says, I'm going to swing for 7. Yeah, I'm attached 2 and swing for 7. Smash into your board. I might swing 8 into the Gadatsu here, and then I'm going back into life. And guess what happens? Since I have 1 or less life, or I guess it'll be 2 or less life when I put him on there, he's going to come right back into play and draw a card. And I'm going to do it again next turn, and next turn, and next turn, and next turn. It just, the value is so high. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the more of the deck theory crafting, the analysis part of the video. Okay, yep, so I'm just making sure I've got the exact amount of Dawn that I need for this to work. I'm going to swing 7 into 6 and try to get some 2K counters out of hand right now. There is no way he can save this Gadatsu from this turn. I'm like, oh, perfect, thank you. Swing 6 into it. Oh, then they let him go. Unbelievable. So we go ahead and develop a board a little bit. I should have swung first. I'm kind of hitting myself over that, but that's okay. Because I think getting them down to 2 life is fine. It's once you get them down to 1 life, you're in the danger zone. I'm just trying to build a board, guys. But hey, they've got cards like Ace. They've got cards like they've got 6 Dawn open right now. Okay, so I take it because we get a Frankie. They swing for 10. Sure, we'll take it. We will for some reason not use Nami. Okay, we choose not to use Nami there. Like I said, I am playing so greedy this game. I can't believe what's going on. This is just pure greed. Because I could have easily popped that. I had plenty of triggers. But hey, why don't we just eat up this guy's hand? Okay, he chooses not to let it go. Or he chooses to let the card go. I just life this card. I'm going to establish more bodies. I'm trying to go as wide as possible, guys. Because that's the only way you're going to deal with Enel. It's the only way. I probably, like I said, I should have taken him down to 2, and I'm hitting myself over that, because then he would not be able to pop 4-cost characters. We get the Frankie, we know that. How many cards have I drawn off Frankie this game, guys? I'm just curious. How many cards have I drawn off of Frankie? It's crazy. Okay. So right here, it is time to start attacking here very soon. See, and that's why, like I said, I should have got him down to 2 life. I'm sorry. I should have got it down. I should have gotten him down to 2 life. I should have used that Nami trigger to pop his Nami. That was greedy not to. There was no reason not to when I have this many cards in hand. But hey, it is hard to deal with Enel, guys. Enel's a hard matchup. So I get a blocker I got a 7K blocker now. So just use the blocker. Yep, that was free. Okay, plays out a ace. Does not swing. Okay, but that's fine because now I have 1 life to play with and 2 blockers. Okay, that's fine. Okay, should 1K for sure. Yeah, Nami's not super valuable. Notice I trashed with a Nami. Nami's not super valuable right now. Okay, and I got to swing at some point, right? That's the point I'm getting to now where it's like, okay, how do we do this? Let's go in for 7 first. He's going to let that go, obviously. Makes it where my Shanks cannot attack. Very, very frustrating. That beige, man. That beige. Okay, not a big deal, though. Not a big deal. They get a Raigo or something like that. There might have been a... I don't know what it was. I see Raigo on top of their trash, so I think that was a Raigo. We'll put him on top there. We'll play out a Bonney. We'll swing for 7. Let's see if he wants to let me draw 2 trash 1. It'd be much appreciated. Whenever you play out Bonney and start attacking, that changes their entire mindset. Because normally, Enel would not even think twice. It would just be auto-take. But hey, I got it. Draw 2, trash 1. He used a Frankie trigger to cycle through a card. I trash a Bonney because I only need the 1 right now. And this is, guys, this is a tight game right here. That's what Enel's, that's how games are with Enel. If you're not playing like this as Red Yellow Sabo against Enel, you're probably not going to win many games against Enel. This is how the matchup has to go. It is an extremely meticulous, hard-fought game. Okay, they got a, hang on, pause. They're doing a lot of crazy shenanigans right now. So they popped my Shanks with a Raigo. Lost a life from that. They don't even care. And then they're going to use 200 million volts of Maru now that they're at 1 life to rest down my blocker and swing 8 into my blocker. Okay, and it's like, okay, I'm not a big fan of that. We have to let it go. He'll probably swing 10. I would have swung... Okay, I would have swung 11 and 11 into Newgate. That's what I would have done personally. I'm going to take that. Swings in for 10. Okay, leaves 2 Dawn active. Is he trying to play a Shirahoshi? What is he trying to play? I'm so curious. Okay, so right here, we're going to swing for 7. I do have to get pretty aggressive here or I'm just dead meat. You know what I mean? Nami, KOing my Frankie. My favorite. My absolute favorite. Oh, man. This guy's triggers were outrageously good. Like, they were outrageously good this game. Okay, we're going to swing for 7. He did have a please save me, so I should have swung for 8, technically speaking. But that's okay. I've got a lot of counter power in hand, guys. I've got a lot of counter power in hand. So right here, yeah, please swing with Kid and Killer first. I swing for 8 this time because he had the please save me. Okay. Takes it. Waiting for a trigger, another trigger. Oh, yeah, you're the one who should disappear, of course, of course. So we will life the, yeah. So I need to life the Edward Newgate here because he has counter power. I have another rusher in hand if I need that. Right, I'm not scared about the rush part. I already have that. So swing for 10. Watch this. You see me doing the math down there? You see my mouse moving? I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take it. Swing 20, dude. Here we go. Yeah, we'll swing 5 first. Yeah, give him the 1K he just saw. Swing 10. And, of course, he's going to have another flipping ace for like the perfect 20, by the way. But that's all right. We got out of it. Okay. Can we win the game right here or not? Okay. No trigger. That's weird. No trigger? Yep. Swing for 7. Swing for 7. I'm like telling myself, all right, James. All right, Vivi. Swing for 7. He gets a you're the one who should disappear. Okay, we're going to swing for 7 more. Let's see if he gets another trigger. 7 into 5. What does he have in hand? He does not. He almost had it. He had a 2K in hand. Guys, that game was outrageously close. That was a very good game. GG to that guy. That was a lot of fun. Enel feels so busted sometimes. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's busted. I'm just saying against certain decks, you have to go Super Saiyan. You have to like play your deck to such an extent that like it's like you're not playing the same deck as other people, even though you have the exact same cards in it. One more game. We got one more game of Blue Doffy here. And then we're going to talk about this deck list, guys. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy about it. And I've had a lot of help from the community, guys. Between my buddy Mike at Locals, big shout out to Mike. He's been doing the most help with me. Let me pause this for a second. So between Mike, between Efraim, like taking the deck to the next level by showing off, you know, how good 6-cost Edward Newgate is. And then we're going to look at another guy's list today. This guy named Renyu who went 5-0 at a Treasure Cup. I know this guy named, I think his name was Sir Dundo. Or Dr. Dundo, Sir Dundo. I'm not sure, and I do apologize if I butchered the name, but Dundo, he's been helping out, you know, by showing people what Red Yellow Sabo can do, even though I've never even had a conversation with him. Big shout out to him, because I think he was one of the first players, like the first, like 1 or 2 players to get top 32 with the Red Yellow Sabo list. So, again, this has just been a massive community project, guys, and we're at a point now where I'm so happy with how the deck has come out, and it's only getting better. And OP08 looks like, you know, OP08.5 takes the deck to the next level, and then OP09 to the next level. We're going to talk about that more at the end of this video. Okay. We got one more game against Blue Doflamingo. I wanted to include quite a few games of Doflamingo because, guys, this is considered a very hard matchup for the list. Let me go 2x. I already did. Excuse me. This is a very tough matchup for Red Yellow Sabo, or at least it used to be. But now that we have some more removal access, you know, or access to more removal, we have more removal options. This matchup just doesn't feel as bad anymore, guys. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not an easy matchup. But, guys, now that we have cards like Nami and then Bonney to help us draw cards and cycle through our deck, it's just a whole different ballgame now. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to swing for 6. I think we're just going to play out a Lindbergh and say, okay, you're bored. You know, or should play out the jet pistol. Okay, I think playing out the Lindbergh would have been fine there, honestly, and I think we would have gotten more value from it this turn. But I don't have a lot of counter power in hand, so maybe that was my logic. Okay, they play out Boa. They're going to be able to attach Arrested Dawn to their leader with the effect, setting their top 3 cards, swing for 7 with leader, and they're going to be able to go about things that way. Okay, he decided he did not want to do that because he did that very quickly. That was calculated. He said, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, so he swings for 6. I'm going to counter out of that because for 7 is a little harder to counter out of, but I do have a 0-cost 3K in hand. Okay, and here's where, like I was saying, if I had my my Lindbergh on the field right here, this turn would have gotten ugly for my opponent, right? Very, very ugly. We'll swing 7 into 5. We'll life the card, and we're going to cancel his leader's attack this turn. That is what is so strong about Zoro. For those who are not aware of how Red Yellow Sabo functions, Zoro allows you to cheat 2 different things. Number 1, I get to smack into your board. So I might take a character off your board. Then I get to life my Zoro, which could potentially buff another character on the board. But even if it doesn't, I just gained a life, and now your hero attack just got turned off. Like, don't get me wrong, he could still attack with his leader right now and do the effect and everything. But I negated the part where I have to trash a card from my hand now, right? I no longer have to lose a card from my hand with that effect. Okay, so we did just top deck a Shanks. That could come in pretty handy depending on what we see. And this is where I'm starting to beat myself up over the idea of, like, I should have had a Lindbergh down so long ago. And then I could have aggressively countered out to save that. I could have had combos with the Zoro, with the Koala in my hand. I should have got out the Lindbergh way sooner. But this guy, hey, I'm just going to start smashing in. He's got to give me blockers. Like, again, notice this. I was at 4 life last turn. At the end of last turn, he attacks and I went down to 3 life. Now I'm doing the same thing. But I'm attacking my leader and my Zoro every turn. So the amount of incremental value, like I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but the way you're like building value more and more and more over the game by using interactions like that, it's really something else. Okay, he hits me with a pudding. I only had 6 cards in hand, right? Let me see something. No, I had 5 cards in hand, actually. Okay, I had 5 cards in hand, and he gave me like 5 equally decent cards. You know, like I got a 2K counter out of that, I got a 1K, I got 2 rushers, and a 7 Lin. The Shanks would have been nice, but I'm not playing Shanks this turn anyway, right? Like, I'm not playing a Shanks this turn. If anything, he should have attacked into me first and then did the pudding. But then I might have gone down to 4 cards in hand. So it's hard to say. Okay, so we're going to swing in for 8 here. Let's see what we do next. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to play out the 7 Lin. Yep. He's going to have to give me a life now. And I think I'm just, yeah. Excuse me. If he had taken a life, I would have put in the Charlotte Linland on top of my life so that I could have been safer. Red Rock is completely fine by me. That's completely fine. Because, again, he's getting into my area of the game now where I can start munching up this board and just profiting off my triggers. So he's going to swing for 7. I get a Nami. We're going to pop the blocker. Now he might just be dead. Right now he might just be game over for him. Okay, get a Bonney, draw 2 trash. When I was wondering where my Bonnies were this game, I couldn't find any Bonnies. Okay, swing for 6. Let's see what happens here. Just give him a 2K. I agree. I don't think I should take it. Okay, never punished. So the game was already probably over since I was able to KO his blocker, but now it's like undoubtedly over, right? We're just gonna, you know, life the whatever his name is there, swing in for 12 into 5. There's no way he's getting out of this, and the 6 that's coming afterwards. Okay, pause. He could almost get out of the 12. It's 2, 4, 6. That gets him to 11. He was 2K shy of getting out of this 12K attack, but then he'd need another 2K to get out of the leader attack. So good game. That was a lot of fun. Okay. And don't worry, guys, I'll have all that time stamped, of course, so you can like move around to where you want to check out whatever game. But now it is time to check out some other stuff here. Okay, we're going to talk about the direction, how we got to this version of the list. What is the version of the list I'm talking about? Actually, let me show that first. This is the version of the list that I was just running. The only changes I made were to Shanks and Lin. Sometimes I went to 3 Rayleighs. Sometimes I went to 1 Shanks, 1 Rayleigh, 1 Lin. Sometimes I went a Shanks and double Lin. I tried out all kinds of different amalgamations there. And the only other thing I might have changed as well is gone down to 2 new gates to go up another Lin. But that's it. Everything else you see is pretty straightforward. Oh, and one other change I did make was I was running 3 Zoros and 3 Kin Killers. But Zoro is king. Like, Zoro is absolutely king in this deck. He is too versatile to not run. I don't have to worry if my opponent's at 4 life, right? I don't have to worry if my opponent's at 1 life or 4 or 5 life, or I'm at 2 or 3 life. It doesn't matter. Zoro just says, I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to attach Suit on swing 7. I'm going to life the card and smash it with my leader as well. And that goes a very, very long way. Okay. I'm going to run through the list real quick, and we're going to talk about it. So 2 Kid and Killers, 4 Zoros, 4 Koala, 2 Morley, 4 Lindbergh, 2 Shanks, 1 Luffy, 3 Charlotte Cracker, 4 Sanji, 3 Satori, 1 Onami, 4 Frankie, 4 Jewelry Bonnie, 4 Nami, 1 Lin, 3 Edward Newgate, 1 Jet Pistol, and 3 zero cost, you're the one who should disappear. I'm going to mute myself for 1 second, guys, and take a sip of water, and then I'll be right back. Y'all give me just a second so we can keep talking about this. Okay. Guys, this list I'm really in love with. Notice the only thing we really changed, the only thing we added were these 2 cards. These 2 cards from OP08, Jewelry Bonnie, pause and read this if you don't know what it does, and Nami, pause and read this if you don't know what it does. That's the only addition we really made to the list that we really improved on from Ephraim's list. When I say we, by the way, I'm talking about me and my buddy Mike. We're constantly texting. We go to the same locals. We're friends in real life. You know what I mean? Like, we're actually friends. So we're talking about this, and this is both of our favorite leaders. Like, just by chance, we're so similar in that way, where it's like, yeah, we both chose that this is like our favorite leader. And he's the one who actually gave me a lot of ideas for the Morley and Lindbergh with the Koala. But here's one thing I will say. This is not necessarily set in stone. This is just what me and him thought was like, this is really solid. Let me say something right now. This could easily be Kikanojo, because this is a 3-cost 5K, 3-cost 5K trigger character. But it's not they're very different, right? How do I say this? They're both very different, but they serve the same slot in this deck. And that is the fact that it is a beater trigger character, right? And that has no counter. Whereas like Lindbergh, the direct translation of like, how would I say this? If you were to translate this over to another character, the closest you'd get to is Neko Mamushi. Because this card is meant to be able to trigger into play and have a 1K counter, because I counted every single counter in this deck, guys, so that there was a certain amount of bricks, a certain amount of this, that, and the other. Okay, this could be Neko Mamushi, and this could easily be Lindbergh. If you start playing with the numbers too much, you start losing some consistency. Notice how many bricks are in this deck. I actually have it written down over here. Give me just a second. So I'm going to show you guys a little spreadsheet real quick for all the different decks that I've been going over. All right, let me bring this over. Okay, so we got some notes here. So, real quick, the list that I have is way over here on the right. I'm going to walk through this in just a second. I have 33 triggers in this list. 3 top-end cards being the 2 Shanks and the 1 Lin or the Rayleighs, whatever kind of combination. And that's the main thing we're about to talk about, guys, is we're about to do some theory crafting on a template, okay, of how to build Red Yellow Sabo. Pretty much however you want to, as long as you have the core based around some of these numbers. You see what I'm saying? Excuse me. So this kind of goes back to what Efraim started here. I've got his stuff on the left, and we're going to look at his list in a minute, just the actual cards, because I know a lot of people don't like to look at numbers like this. It stresses people out. I get it. But just know that I kind of broke down every single card in everyone's list and counted everything up, and here's basically what I got to. And if you have any questions on this, just ask in the comment section below or on Discord. But what I determined, and when you looked at, I looked at 4 different lists. Well, I should say 3, and I built mine based on these 3. I looked at Dundo's list, and I was looking at lists that had done very well. Like, for example, Renyu he was 5-0 and won a store treasure cup with Red Yellow Sabo. Efraim got top 16, going 8-2 in a some type of online event as well. Okay, some type of online regional or treasure cup. I can't remember exactly, but going 8-2, right? And guys, he went against some really good decks. Trust me. Okay. And then Dundo, he got top 32 as well in another event. So Efraim got top 16, Dundo got top 32, and Renyu went 5-0 at a store treasure cup. So my list is based off certain numbers, almost like an algorithm or something, right, that I'm using here to create my list. And now one thing I want to note as well is their list is built in OP07 because that's what we just left in the West, right? Now we're in OP08 and we have access to these 2 cards. You know, let me move this down a little bit. We have access to Bonney now and Nami. Okay, so that really deepens. It makes the decks, like, it makes it a lot deeper. I don't know how else to say that. You have a much deeper card pool now and way better options than we used to have, in my personal opinion. But anyway, let me just kind of walk through this real quick. In everyone's list, and when I say everyone, let me talk about these 3 first. Like, let's not talk about my list. I'll talk about that at the end. Renyu, Efraim, and Dundo, they were all running the 3K counter. 3K being the 0-cost 3K, you're the one who should disappear. Then all of them had between 10 and 12 2K counters. And the 10 and the counters they were using were typically Satori, Frankie, and not Koala. They were either running Flampe's or Hiyori's. I think that was typically what they ran. I think I'm the only list running Koala, and this is a tech that me and Mike came up with to get more KO in the deck, more board control in the deck. Okay, 1K counters. Now, this is where, like, okay, notice Dundo was up to 22 1K counters in his list. Efraim and Renyu were a little low in that count, but at the same time, they were able to substitute that by having more triggers and more, like, you know, top end or rusher or whatever. We'll get to that in a second. But the idea is this: the more 1K counters, 2K counters, and 0-cost 3K counters you have in the list, the better. And that's why when you look over at my list, I always have like roughly the same or more than in the other categories for the other players, because I was building it based off of that, and with access to new cards like the new Nami and the new Bonney. It really does take the deck to the next level, in my opinion. Now, as far as bricks go, so 21 was in the first list here. And remember, that went 5-0 out of Treasure Cup, so you can't even, like, make fun of it. Like, clearly it worked, you know. 18 in Efraim's list and 14 in Dundo's. Then we get to the triggers. This is where things get really interesting. The triggers. So a lot of lists. So notice Efraim and Dundo were both running basically 25 triggers. Half their deck were triggers, right? 26 or 24. And then Renyu's was up to 32. Now, I will show his list in a second as well. He was focused more on the Big Mom Pirates package, so he did have Perospero as like and Cracker and all of them as natural triggers within that type, right? And we'll analyze all of that in this part of the video. But guys, I'm running 33 now because guess what? We got 8 new cards that are, well, they're all triggers, right? When I say 8, I mean 4 Bonnies and 4 Namis. That's 8 new cards in the deck. They're all triggers, and they double over as like utility, KO, you name it, right? Top end, everyone was about the same. Efraim had 6 top end cards. He was running 3 of the Shanks and 3 Lin. And then Renyu, I think, was running 3 Shanks. We'll check in a second. Or I think he was running 3 Lin, 3 Lin. And then I was running 2 Shanks and 1 Lin. And then I was also messing around with Rayleigh. We'll talk about him in a second. The results were not as good as I wanted them to be with Rayleigh. I think it's just not his time yet. I think OP09 will be a little more for him. Maybe not even Red Yellow Sabo, but I sure would like for it to work. Rush cards, another very interesting category of the deck. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So the rush cards in this deck, everyone was running 7 to 8, except Dundo was running 10 of them. Okay, and that's really the only difference. Everything else was pretty much dead on. We were all right around the 7 to 8 spot, with 10 being the top end of that. And then utility. Now, when I say utility, I'm talking about, like, for example, okay, Kuma... Hang on, I'm sorry, guys. Like, this thing over here is so distracting. So Kuma, he would be considered a trigger, and we're talking about... Let me bring up the cards real quick. Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to move this over for a second. Let me go. The red cards, I already had them loaded in. So, for example, when I was making these numbers over on the right, that I just moved over to the right of the screen, Kuma is a trigger card, but he's also really a utility card, right? Because this is a trigger body. That is true that it's a trigger body, and I was also counting cards like You're the One Who Should Disappear as triggers. So some are trigger bodies, some are trigger effects, right? But they're still triggers, and that matters a lot now because of what Nami is doing and what Nami will be doing for us in the deck in OP08. You have to have cards to trash that are triggers in order to get this effect, and because we need to have 5 or less cards in hand to get the full value from Nami's effect, we need to be countering out fairly aggressively. So that way we can access Nami in the early game and get the full value, get the full-on KO their character and draw a card. So like we're cycling a card instead of just trashing one. Because when you're trashing a card, it's okay. You know, if you have like 8 or 9 cards in hand and you have to trash a card to KO, that's not the worst thing in the world. But it's so much better when you have 5 cards in hand. You play out the Nami to go down to 4. You trash a card to go down to 3 to activate the effect. You KO their 5 or less, then you draw a card. So it acts as a cycle, which is very important for us. And we can't do that if we don't have enough counters in the deck. Like you know, we need less and less bricks to make sure that this works in our favor, right? And, you know, last but not least, like these triggers, they also double over as value from our life. And if we're countering out early, one more thing I want to say on that part, if we're countering out early and keeping our life around 3 or 4 early in the game, number one, we're playing to our advantages with Nami, and we're playing to our advantage with Edward Newgate around the 6 or 7 dawn turn. Do y'all understand like how this deck is coming together, like how it functions? And like there's a lot going on here, guys. I know for players who do not play a lot of Red Yellow Sabo, I might be talking over your head in regards to what the deck does. But what you're seeing here, guys, is a fine-tuned, well-oiled, fine-tuned machine right here, right, guys? It runs very, very well. Doesn't mean you can't lose with it. You're going to lose just like everybody else does, but just saying. Now, back to what we were saying with utility. Some other utility options. Like, for example, Neko Mamushi, I double over Ann Lindbergh. I double them over as utility because they're not just triggers. They are triggers, but they also can KO characters or attack into characters, which is massive. So when I was making these entire lists right here, you got to take those things into consideration how it was all being built. And guys, Frankie is just insane because not only is he a 2K counter with a trigger, he also has utility because he draws a card. That is going to be another thing, you know, going forward once we get to OP09, a little bit of a spoiler warning up front here. We're getting a new card that's very similar to that in the 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter, Bello Betty. It's kind of like the miniature version of Frankie for our list, because if we start putting that card back into life, and as long as the trigger is turned on, there is a stipulation to the trigger. I know it's a little bit technical, but still, if we can turn that on and access that, the value just skyrockets, right? It just goes through the roof. Okay, you're literally cheating one of their attacks with your leader effect, right? You're putting your card on top of the life. So now that attack that they just did, yep, we're going to take it because it gets cheated out because we just gained that life. And then the card's a trigger that comes into play to draw a card. So instead of us having to trash a card and lose a life, like, you know, or excuse me, instead of us having to trash a card to counter out, we're going to just take the hit that we just gained a life from, get a body, and draw a card. It's like the total inverse. It's like total, Twilight Zone or something, Topsy-Turvy World. Okay, so that's just to give an idea here. And when I say top end, I mean anything 7 cost and over. Okay, so when I'm doing cards in my mind, guys, excuse me, anything that can come down by turn 3 is early to mid game. So in other words, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those cards can come down turn That's turn 3 for either player, right? Not talking about ramp decks. Ramp decks are very different. But if you're going first, you go 1, 3, 5. If you're going second, you go 2, 4, 6. So when I'm talking about top end, what's his name? Newgate is just barely in the mid-range zone because I could play him on turn 3. That's still like mid-game in my opinion, at least as far as like One Piece logic goes. So my top end is Shanks, Rayleigh, and Linlin. Okay, that's like what I would consider top end. So with that in mind, you guys can pause and read these lists if you want to, and I will link in the comment section below the entire video I did kind of highlighting, showing off Efraim's list because I thought it was so brilliant, so ingenious. He took the deck to the next level. He truly did. You know, and that's why at first, you know, I was talking with my buddy about this, like, you know, maybe we don't show off the next version. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, my throat. I'm going to have to clear it in a minute. Maybe we don't show off the next version of the list. We'll just keep it to ourselves. But it's like, no, man, this is like a community project. Yes, people will learn about it and they'll know how to counter it and all that stuff, but who cares, right? I want to see more players play this deck and feel confident with it and win tournaments with it. I want people to realize how strong this deck is because otherwise people are just saying I cope, you know? It's like, oh yeah, it got like 2 top 32 finishes, a top 16, you know, it's winning all over the place locally. It's not like, you know, it's not winning everything, but it's like this deck can clearly compete with the best of them, but it's cope. You know, for a lot of people will say it's cope. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to say it is, and maybe it is. Who knows? But I don't understand how you can say 8-2 at a top 16, you know, getting top 16 in a major tournament or top 32 at major tournaments. I don't understand how that's even in the same ballpark. And imagine how few players are playing this list to still do that well. You know, so there's something to be said there. Let me clear my throat real quick, guys, and we'll keep going. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Not sure how much it'll help. You know, sometimes when you get talking for this, like we're going on an hour and a half almost. We're on an hour and 20 minutes right now. The throat's just like completely dried out. You know, because in normal conversations, someone else starts talking for you, right? But when you're like me, you know, and you're just yapping into the screen, no one talking back, the throat definitely starts to go. So, real quick, this is the list right here that we were running. I know I was kind of all over the place talking about how these stats run. If you have any questions about any of this, by all means, say something. Now, we will take this time to look at those lists, you know, in person here, so to speak. Like, we'll get to look at it. Let me move my head, make my head real small. Look, I'm like this little tiny head now. Sorry, guys. Okay, this is Efraim's list. And we already talked about the numbers and stuff, right? But I think this is what is so nice about what we're doing right now and talking about this and analyzing it and breaking it down. We're starting to come up with a template for what works. It just works, right? And we've seen the results. We know they work. And look, for those who might be wondering, like, yeah, but who did he end up beating? Well, he beat Blue Doffy, Reiju, Black Yellow Luffy, Lucci, Red Purple Law, Green Bonney. He lost to Black Yellow Luffy and then won against Black Yellow Luffy. Won against Red Purple Law, and then, you know, when he was 8-1, he finally went against a Black Yellow Luffy that put him at 8-2, and he squeaked into the top 16. So it's not like he was playing against no one. You know, he's playing against extremely solid meta lists, and he's playing against good players. I mean, these are players who are like, think about it. He went 6-0 to start. To start his day off, he was 6-0. Then he finally lost his first game on his 7th round, going into a Black Yellow Luffy. Like, okay. That's not even that bad because he went 2-2 versus Black Yellow Luffy. He won 2 and he lost 2. Not even that bad. Excuse me. And one thing I remember saying when I first saw this list and like considering OP08, because I think this tournament was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. At the time you're recording this, I believe this tournament was 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I remember saying back then, hey, when we get Bonney, Gadatsu becomes Bonney. It's just it's a 1-to-1 changeover, except Bonnie's just better. Now, Gadatsu is very strong still. Don't get me wrong. Gadatsu is solid. However, Bonney, you lose 1,000 power to be able to pop a 5 or less at any time. Gadatsu can only pop a 5 or less if your opponent has 5 life. So that means you did not attack. And if you're not attacking, then you're not also, you know, using the new card we want to use, Bonney. You want to have access to Bonney as well. So really, really good stuff here. You know, this list, I feel like really cracked the mold because we were so close to having something similar to this. I've played deck lists that are probably like 8 cards off from what you see on the screen here, or like 6 cards off from what you see on the screen here. Edited them, changed it around, tried something new. Tried this, tried that. But this, and then when you start analyzing it, Watch this, guys. Okay, I did this. I broke this down like this. Let me move my head again. My head's all in the way. All right, I'm just going to move my head down to the bottom here. I got Sanji. Sanji's behind my head, guys. Okay. We have like this formula now. If you're going to build a red, yellow Sabo list, you can build it how you want to, as long as you stick to around this formula. And I will say there's one small like stipulation I want to mention. If you're trying to build like based off Revo Army or Big Mom Pirates, this is not for you. This formula is not what you should be going for, but I don't know, maybe you can still work it in. But guys, I'm trying to build this around a formula that works, you know what I mean? That we know can work and that we can just use going forward. And guys, this seems to work. Somewhere between 6 to 10 rushers. Somewhere between 7 to 10 rushers. That's what we saw worked, right? 7 to 10 rushers. Around 25 triggers or more. The more triggers, the merrier. And remember, this is an OP07 list. Now we have access to even better triggers. We have more and better triggers now. Okay, so I would say 25 plus for triggers. Tech cards, I have those in green. That's what I called Gadatsu. That's what I call the Edward Newgate. Because, like, you know, they're there for a specific reason that's outside of our main theme, right? Our main theme, honestly, is triggers and rushers. That is our main theme. We only need a little bit of rushers, enough to see them, you know, once a game, once or twice a game. And then triggers are our main thing as well. Everything else after that, you can, in my personal opinion, the flex spots in this deck are your top end and your tech cards. You can make those whatever you want to. So that's like anywhere from like 7 to 11 cards, probably 7 to 12 cards that you can make whatever you want to. Okay, like that's just my personal opinion. Because if you don't like Edward Newgate, don't run it. I think it's a very good card. But if you don't like Edward Newgate, then don't run it. You know, Gadatsu, like I said, this card's about to not be tech anymore. This is about to be Jewelry Bonney. Or excuse me, I keep messing them up. This is about to be Nami. Okay, that one's just a one-to-one, just straight transition over. But think of it like this. Here's another thing I wanted to say. When it comes to your trigger cards, notice that Efraim here was running Kikinojo and Neko Mamushi. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Me and my buddy Mike, we're running, what's his name? Oh gosh, Lindbergh and Morley. And then we're also like messing around with the numbers a little bit so that we could fit Bonney into the deck as well. So hopefully you guys see what's going on there. But and the same thing with the 2K counter package. If you want to run Flampe, Satori, and Frankie like Efraim did, why not? Absolutely. Do that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Or do you want to try out Koala and go with the more Revo Army stuff I was talking about? Or do you want to go with Hiyori and maybe do some top life setting? You know what I'm saying? Like there are multiple options. But as long as you're sticking close to this schematic that we have here now, like this rough blueprint, you can make pretty much any red, yellow Sabo deck work. Okay, and when I say the blue counter one, by the way, I'm talking about 2K counters and 3K counters. That's what, when I say counter, there's way more counters in this deck list, right, with the 1K counters and everything. But I'm talking about 2Ks and 3Ks, the zero cost 3K being the 3Ks. Okay, now let's look at one more. Let's look at two more decks. This is the deck that won. This is Renyu's list that went 5-0 and won a store treasure cup. So probably around a 32-player tournament, maybe probably, yeah, I would think it's probably around 32 players, right? If he went 5-0, let me see, 32, 16, 8, 4, yeah, something like that. Okay, I think it was around a 32-player event. But check out this list, guys. Okay, you might be wondering, well, how in the world are you going to dice this list up? You know, like, because he's got Tropical Torments in here, and, well, that's really the only oddball, to be honest. Well, guys, here's how that would look if I were to break this up. It would look like this. We've got our 7 rush cards. We've got our 13 count. He only ran 13 counters, so he ran, I think it was 10 2K counters, and then 3, you're the one who should disappear. Sure, that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, and then for the tech cards, he's got the Tropical Torments down here, and then he also had the Pudding right here. Notice the Pudding's back here? And I'm thinking that's not correct. I think the tech cards should say 7. Sorry, guys. Quick edit. I tried to rush this out to get this video out on time and everything, you know, but it should say 7 tech cards. He's running 7 because the Pudding here, there should be 4 of those, and there's 3 Tropical Torments. But other than that, everything else should be fine. The 3 top-end cards he's running are the Charlotte Linlins. He's running 32 triggers, guys. Check this out. He's running 4 Sanji, 4 Perospero, 4 Kikinojo, 4 Cracker, 4 Neko Mamushi, 3 and 3 of the 2 events down here, and then 2 Satoris. And then 4 of the Frankie over here on the right that you can barely see because I had to crop this in like this. but the formula is still there, right? Like, I feel like we have an actual formula now. And by the way, this list, guys, remember, this is running 32 triggers, and it's still running, and it's not running Bonney or Nami because it's OP07, and they're sticking to a Big Mom Pirates type. And by the way, that's probably why everyone was having so much success with the Big Mom Pirates version of the deck. It was consistent. It had lots of triggers. Yeah, the counter's always been about the same. You run the rushers in there. It's all there now, guys. It's all starting to come together. It's exciting for me to see this. I'm not going to lie, guys. It's exciting for me to see how the deck has evolved, how it has progressed, and where we're at right now with it. Okay, now we're looking at one more list. We're going to look at my list. This is... Now, real quick, the Ivankov is Jewelry Bonney, okay? And the Gadatsu is supposed to be Nami. All right, just know that. Like, when I put this list out, I was building it for what we're talking about for OP08. I just built it before I had the Bonnies and the Namis, okay? I still don't have them yet, by the way, because I'm recording this the day of the release, right? I'll get them soon, don't worry. But just understand, for this example, this is supposed to be Bonney, and this is supposed to be Nami. Okay, and behind my head is Sanji again. Let me minimize my head real quick. See, that's Sanji down there. Okay. Now, when we go to break this list down, again, it's very, very simple to break down in this manner, where we can see, okay, there's design, right? There's a design here. It's not just all jumbled together. Now, in this version of the list, I still had the 3 Zoros and the 3 Kid and Killers. I want to change that. I am going to be changing that. Let me say, not I want to change that. I'm going to be changing that to 4 Zoros and probably just 3 Kid and Killers. And we'll see. I might even do some more adjustments, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So notice I cropped in the pictures here for Jewelry Bonney and for Nami. Again, it's just Gadatsu's behind Nami, and it's just Ivankov's behind Bonney, because I don't have the actual cards just yet. But here's the list, guys. I want to run 7 rush cards. I think 7's like the perfect number. We're 8. 8 is probably working out. Hey, it's clearly working out just fine. Some people were running 10. Some people were running 8. Like Efraim was running 8. But I feel like we can get away with 7. And I think 7 might be the perfect number. Because a lot of times now that we have access to Jewelry Bonney, man, I am cycling these rush cards out of my hand. Right? I only want 1 rush card per game. Because that rush card is never going to die. Right? Because that rush card is going to be like smash in for 7, bare minimum, go to life. So you can't KO my rush card. But I have to see the rush card, or I don't have that option. Okay, so I'm probably going to stick around 6 to 7 for my rushers, now that we do have access to Jewelry Bonney and the Nami draws as well, guys. So we're getting through a lot more cards now than we used to. Now, from there, so 7 rushers, 3 at the top end. This is negotiable for sure. I'm not fully set on this top end just yet. I think it's good. I think Shanks is good. I think 7-cost Linlin is good. But man, there's certain games where it's like, dude, I just want to stay low to the ground and just beat my opponent on the board and then just win over the course of the next 4 turns, 3 or 4 turns. You know what I mean? Where it's just like I just completely outvalue him and keep going. Sorry if y'all hear my stomach rumbling, guys. I'm starting to get hungry, so my apologies if y'all can hear that on the mic, because the mic's like right next to my stomach. It's like a, yeah. Anyway, so anyway, what was it? Oh, the top end. The top end is going to come down to however you want to build it. But I think as we go further and further into the perfect design for this deck, if such a thing exists, right? When you start building this list to like be as good as it can be, I think going lower and lower with your top end is probably going to be the way to go, unless we want to build a more controlling list. And that's possible too. In the future, there might be a few different versions of Red, Yellow, Sabo. I mean, there's already a few different versions of Red, Yellow, Sabo, right? There's like 10 different versions. But which one is the best one? Honestly, guys, I think what we're looking at right here, this is what you saw me play in all of today's games. Like I said, with the only thing changing being the top end between Shanks, Linlin, and Rayleigh. I think what you're seeing right here is probably as good as we can get to the top end currently, as far as like the best version of the deck goes. Not necessarily these exact numbers, right? So I'm not exactly this exact list, but these numbers. Let me say it like that. So for example, notice we have 3 top end. Okay, we could probably go down on that, but 3's working just fine for now, because Shanks does help you deal with Enel. Shanks helps you deal with Enel. It helps you deal with Bonney. But guys, the 7 rushers, the 5 utility spot. Okay, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I honestly think you can just combine the top end with the whatever this is called, the tech spots, right? The utility or tech spots. Notice in this list, I've got 3 Newgates, 1 Jet Pistol, and 1 Onami. And by the way, 33 triggers, like I said. Look at this entire middle row, guys. All triggers, every one of them. Except the Gadatsu, right? Because that's supposed to be Nami. But like all of these are triggers, and the Ivankov back there. This is supposed to be an entire row of triggers, but that's not it. Look at the bottom row. Everything on the bottom row is triggers as well, except the koala. And like I said, this can be whatever 2K counter you want. Do you want it to be Flampe? Do you want it to be Hiyori? Do you want it to be whatever comes out in the future? You know, because there's going to be cards that come out in the future as well. We're going to talk about in just a minute when we talk about OP09. And then for the rushers, whatever your favorite rush package is, I don't know if Zoro's negotiable anymore. Like I tried going down to 3 Zoro and get to up to, because I think I was running 4 Zoro and 2 what's his name here, Kid and Killer. And Kid and Killer is an incredible finisher. Like I'm going to tell you right now, Kid and Killer is one of the best finishers we've got. However, Zoro, there's just no replacement for Zoro, because if I have 2 in my hand, then I'll just play 1 on turn 2 and just swing with it if I have to, just to get in a response from my opponent. They think they're going to be doing something good by taking out my character. I've got another 1 in hand. You know what I mean? That's fine with me because I'm putting the pressure on and I'm getting them off my life, so that way I can get more value from my new gate and all that good stuff. And hey, I might be able to aggressively counter out of the Zoro, like and save the Zoro. If I can save the Zoro, next turn's going to be ruthless. Like next turn's going to be absolutely horrible for my opponent. So really good stuff there. One thing I do want to mention is you can change the numbers here. Like when it comes to Lindbergh and Morley, the list you see right here only has 13 dead cards, right? When I say dead, I mean like bricks in hand. Let me see. So 3, 4, 8, 11, and then the 2 Morleys, right? The 2 Morleys, yeah, that's 13. So if you need to, you can go up to like 15 dead cards in hand by changing, like maybe go like 4 Kikinojo and only 2 Neko Mamushi or something, right? Or who knows, at that point, maybe change out the crackers. It's up to you and it's up to what you're comfortable with. I will give one warning, though, about the Neko Mamushi and the Kikinojo. The reason me and my buddy Mike are leaning away from those cards, they're incredible cards. Like, no one's going to argue that they're not good cards. They're very, very good cards, and their triggers are like what we want. The problem is you're forcing me to push my opponent down to a certain life total, you know what I mean, so that I can actually capitalize on them. Whereas Morley and Lindbergh just say, hey, just trash a card from your hand and just get into play. Because honestly, guys, at this point, I mean, I would almost consider dropping Morley for even like a smoothie or something, just to have one more bigger character. But I do like having the 3 cost characters, and you know, I like having the 3 cost character spot, you know, around 8 to 10 cards. That's a whole nother thing I didn't even break down in today's videos, like the cost for cards. Excuse me. With the version I'm trying here, notice it's 3, 7, 9. I have 9 3 cost cards that I'm actually trying to play on turn 3, or that I can play on, excuse me, on my 3-dawn turn. Not exactly perfect, but it's also it's still pretty good. But if I go to 4 Zoros, like I was saying, and 4 Bonnies, maybe I could just scrap the Morleys and just have 8 3-drops. And that's already a good number, right? That's already a pretty healthy number for 3 drops. That's what made Perospero so good, by the way. In the I don't mean to keep going back to the Big Mom Pirates version, but I mean, honestly, guys, the deck was just very solid. Even for the red yellow Sabo version of it, because your 3 drops, you know, you already had your think about it, guys. At the end there, your one cost spot was Pudding or Flampe, and that's Big Mom Pirate searchable as well, by the way. The Flampe is, and then your 3 cost spot was your Zoro or your Perospero, right? It was just very nice. We might have to revisit that again in the future, but that's for another video. But here you go, guys. This is what I think. Let me move my face. I'm just going to get my face out of the way so y'all can take a picture if you need to. Okay, this is the list right here, guys. If you need to take a picture of it, by all means, this is what I was running. I feel like it's very strong. And you can change things however you need to. Let me put my face back in now. You can change these numbers however you need to. Do you want to go down to Sanji and go up a Cracker? Do that. Do you want to go down the Lindberghs and go up Neko Mamushi? Be my guest, right? You want to go down the Morleys and go up Kikinojo? We have what we need now. Do you see what I'm saying? We have the template. We have the formula for what works now. Now you get to use your own creative, you know, your own mind to say, like, you know what, I actually think, like, okay, I'm only running 3 Satoris. I think I'm going to go up to 4. I'm going to, you know, remove 1 Koala, go up to 4 Satoris, and then maybe I'll change out the other 3 Koalas and go up like Flampe or Hiyori or something. You know what I mean? It's up to you now. Like, hey, the ball's in your court, guys. I've got this template ready for y'all to use and do whatever you want with it. Excuse me. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about OP09. Or excuse me, OP08.5, and then going into OP09. Okay, so for OP0, let me see if I can do, if I go 8.5, will that do it? No, let me try a ST15. Well, okay, that's fine. This is actually the only cards I wanted to see, to be honest. We're only going to talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to show any list or anything just yet. I'm not ready for that. But going into OP08.5, that's what? That's about a month away, guys. It's not even that far away. It's like a month or a month and a half away at the time you're recording this. This card changes things. Okay, this card, it's a 7-cost card, so it takes up the top end spot, right? And there's a lot to be said there. This card is very, very strong. Gosh, I hang on. I kind of jumped the shark, or what's the expression? I kind of I got ahead of myself there. Hang on one second, guys. I did make a revised list where I wanted to show this off as some of the ideas that I was saying, okay? This is kind of where the deck is, right? This is kind of what you can do with the list and change it to however you want to. This is a more revised version where it's like, you know what? I'm only running triggers. I'm only running rush cards. 2K counters are mixed in there, of course, like with Koala. And then I'm only running a little bit of top end. So in other words, if it's not a 2K counter, then it's a rush card. And if it's not a rush card, then it's a trigger. I should have said the other way around. If it's not a 2K counter, then it is a trigger. And then if it's not that, then it's a rush card. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. And this is a very clean, revised version for OP08, going straight out of the gates, where there is no tech in there like I was saying. I would almost use this as a template to do what you need to from here, right? So it's like, okay, I think there's, you know, say you don't like Kikinojo and Nekomamushi. Okay, well, you can add something else there. But, you know, use whatever list you want to, and you know, whatever you want to try, you should try that, okay? Make the deck your own. That's why I'm trying to show you guys this. Don't just copy-paste what I'm doing. Make it your own, right? Just make it your own. Okay, now, with that in mind, here, this was like the revised list. For OP08.5, this is the main card that we get, is Edward Newgate and Ace. These are not irrelevant. Let me tell you something right now. These are not irrelevant cards for what we're trying to do. Pause and read what Ace does. Okay, guys? This card on the board for us is not going anywhere. Guys, this card is not going anywhere. It says if this character would be removed from play by one of your opponent's effects, instead you may give this character minus 2,000 power for this turn. Do you understand what that means? Think about it. If we play him on turn 5, right? Or excuse me, on our 5 Dawn turn. Well, next turn we'll have 7 Dawn, right? So we have Ace on the board. Okay, let's play out our Zoro, attach 2 Dawn, swing for 7. That was 5 Dawn, right? Swing for 7 with Zoro, attach a Dawn to our leader to give plus 2,000 to Ace until the start of our next turn. Then we swing for 7 with our leader, and then swing for 8 with Ace. And now, if they want to swing into an 8,000 power body, be my guest. But you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to remove my character with an effect. You might if you have double effects, but hey, if you KO him and he gets the minus 2,000, guess what? He's back to 6,000. It's not like that's even a downside. You know what I mean? Now he's just normal. Darn. You know, shoot. And he's a 1K counter in hand, guys. And then, like I said, for the top end, whoops. Hey, not Atmos. But for the top end, then we have access to Edward Newgate. That might change some things, guys. At this point, if we start messing with Edward Newgate, and see, notice how that's why I was keeping the Koala and the Lindbergh in here, because guys, our like OP08.5 smooth transition has to do with the Newgate, and if we have Koala in here, we're popping an 8K with this effect, and if we work in something like Fire Fist, the Revo Army version, we're popping a 9K with Edward Newgate. And remember what Newgate does, guys. Let me go back to it. Okay. Remember what Newgate does. On play, we get a Dawn attached to our leader right away. So if we need to just slam this down on our 7 Dawn turn, we can actually attach a Dawn to our leader with it, use his effect to pop one of their characters, swing for 6 with our leader, and life this card. Massive. Just absolutely massive. This card and the new Ace coming out are going to be pretty nice for us, guys, I have to say. Now, let me try ST20 real quick. Excuse me, that's for yellow. These are the only new cards coming out of ST20. This Katakuri is okay, but it's not really what we're going for, guys. It's not really what we're trying to do. Pause and read it if you don't know what it does. And the same thing with, like, okay, this Cracker is actually fine. To be honest, guys, once per turn when this character would be KO'd by an effect, you may instead trash the top card of your life. That's actually not the worst thing in the world. We don't want to trash cards from our life, but the fact that it has resilience, if we need it to stick, then it will stick. You know what I mean? And it has trigger, trash card for your hand to play it. It's 4 cost 5K, 1K counter. This is not the worst card in the world. I just think we have better options. 2K counter Brûlée. This thing's not special either, to be honest. And then this pudding's just nothing. Okay, on play, you may add the top card of your life to your hand and then set up to one of your cost 3 or less Big Mom Pirates type characters as active. That's not what we're trying to do. Okay, and then the 6 cost 7K. This is well statted for us, I'm not going to lie. This is pretty well statted, but trashing a card from hand, we're past that, right? Like, the only card we're going to do that for is something like Nami, where it can potentially draw us a card and has a trigger and has a 1K counter. You know, this card is so much better for what we're trying to do than something like Lin Lin. And if we're going to play a 6 cost character, then that's where I would rather play something like the Newgate. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just simply better for what we're trying to do. I'm not trying to say this is a bad card, but for what we're trying to do, this is way more in line. And notice in this optimized list that I ran, the revised list, I make it where there's no tech cards. It is just a, like I said, I'll finally say it right. I said it wrong the first like 4 times. If it's not a trigger, then it's a rush card. And if it's not a rush card, then it's a 2K counter. And that's pretty much it, other than Shanks, the top end card. Okay, now we've gone over OP08.5 a little bit. We're only getting access to 2 cards, like I said. Like, let me type in ST13. We're only getting access to, like, I guess, Katakuri, Cracker, and Lin Lin. Those are the 3 main ones from yellow. But then for ST15 from red, it's just these 2 guys here, the Newgate and the Ace. And that will switch things up, guys. I do plan on implementing these into our list. I do plan on getting those in there. Now, other than that, let's take a quick peek at OP09, okay? So, from the east, okay, in a land far, far away, right, over in the east, this person, I will link their Twitter account in the comment section below. They put out some cool stuff here. I have no idea what they're saying, guys, and I would have never found this if it were not for the Discord. If you're not on the Discord yet, guys, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. But no, honestly, I'll drop a little, a little, what would you call it? I don't know the word for it. I'll tell you right now, I think we're kind of working, me and the mods in the Discord, we're working on doing like a giveaway soon. So if you're not in the Discord yet, you might miss out on that. We're getting very close to 1,000 members in the Discord. And guys, we're getting very close to 10,000 subs on the channel. This channel has been growing. Thank you guys so much to everybody who watches and who's contributing to that, you know, just by staying watching and like recommending people the channel, sharing it, and subscribing and all that. I really do appreciate it. Now, back to what we were saying here. If it weren't for the Discord, I would have no idea about this stuff, guys, because guess what? I don't speak Japanese. But over in the East, look at what they've come across here. This same person, let me show you this list real quick. So this is the list that they showed. Okay, I don't know what's going on over on the right, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't read any of that. But check this list out that this person submitted on September 6th. So about a week ago. They had in the top spots here, and you know, this isn't necessarily right or anything. Okay, the zoom's not working great on here, but whatever. Actually, if I open this in a new tab, let me try something real quick. Open image in new tab. Let's see here. Now I should be able to zoom in a little bit. Okay, that works. Good enough, right? Good enough. Okay. This is what this guy thinks. It's not set in stone. This is just one person's opinion, right? This is just their thoughts on the matter. Check out where they have these, though, guys. Okay, Shanks is up there. Guys, I'm going to be honest. Shanks is a madman right now in OP09. I'm not saying he can't be beaten, but he is definitely an absolute menace right now in OP09. Until something gets figured out, we'll have to see what happens. Purple Luffy and Red Purple Luffy, they're no joke. Okay, because Purple Luffy now has a card that they can ramp to in the 9-cost 10K Luffy. Draws a card, and it just starts beating face, and it's a 9-cost 10K rusher. Okay, so think about that. If they go first, let's do some math here. So 1 Dawn, pass. Turn 2, they get to 3 Dawn, use leader effect, they're at 4 Dawn, do whatever for the turn, pass. Next turn, they're on 6 Dawn, right? They went from 4 to 6. They go to 7 with a ramp, do whatever they had to do, pass. The next turn, they're slamming that card down and just going face. So that's like turn 4 for them. Turn 4, they're getting a 9-cost character down and swinging with it, right? When normally that would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That would be their 5 Dawn play normally. They're getting it as early as turn, you know, I don't even want to say as early as, because they might be able to cheat it out even faster than that. There might be a way to make it come down even faster, but the point is, turn 4, bashing in with a 9-cost character like that, a 10K rusher, when your opponent just untapped on their 3rd Dawn turn, and they had 6 Dawn. You know what I mean? It's a lot, because they're going to go up to 8 Dawn, and they're still not at where you were. And then you can start chaining those. And Red Purple Luffy, the same idea, but he's going to be able to have access to the 10-cost Luffy, the Gear 5 Luffy. Then you get to the A tier guys, and you've got Doflamingo, you've got Red Yellow Sabo, Blackbeard, and Lucci. They've got Red Yellow Sabo in A tier. And guys, they're right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, I do think they're right about that. I've been saying it for a long time. Red Yellow Sabo is way, way better than people remember. Now, I think the reason Black Yellow Luffy kind of fell off into the B tier where they have them is, I mean, how does Black Yellow Luffy even deal with Blackbeard and Shanks? Shanks has access to a card called Lucky Roo that trashes characters on KO. So when they go to smash into, to keep Shanks' life total low, they go, okay, block with Lucky Roo and get rid of your Sabo. Like, yeah, but they just played the Sabo. It can't be KO'd. It doesn't matter. It, like, trashes it, right? Or does it KO? No, I'm thinking of Beckman. Beckman is the one that trashes, and then Lucky Roo KOs. So never mind. Y'all get what I'm trying to say, though. The point is they have ways to trash characters, and when they're playing down a 7-cost 7K Ben Beckman, that's a very relevant body, because it's also trashing one of their characters, getting it out of the way, so you don't have to worry about the next turn. And then once they start dropping down their their Shanks cards, yeah, it's a wrap. It's pretty much a wrap at that point. It gets out of control fast. Doflamingo is very strong. Excuse me. One more thing I want to say about Black Yellow Luffy. The reason that I think it's not going to be great into Blackbeard, who knows? It might be. I might be wrong. Maybe they can just weather the storm. We'll have to see. But Blackbeard says, yeah, all your on-play effects, they're not happening. They're not happening. And they're eventually going to drop down a 10-cost, 12,000 power blocker. So you know that 11K attack that Luffy's known for doing? Right, where they go up to 9,000 power by using their two little dudes, and then they have 2 Dawn already attached to them, so swing for 11. Okay, I'll just rest my my blocker. Not to mention the way it can turn off effects and stuff like. Well, I guess it won't matter. Y'all get my point. The point is this: it is actually wait, hang on. Does it turn off the power boost if they use the Blackbeard? I'll have to look into that, guys. I don't know. Usually when it happens, when it comes down to buffs, like once they're on, they're on. They can't be removed. But I'll have to look into that for you guys. I don't know just yet. Regardless, guys, notice what's going on here, though. Red Yellow Sabo getting some recognition. Not everyone from the East feels this way. I understand that. In fact, a lot of people would say that Red Yellow Bello Betty, which is right here, is actually way too low on this list. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire list, but I will link it in the comment section below for those who want to check it out. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole list. I just want to show, guys, Red Yellow Sabo over in the East, it is getting some traction, guys. It's like people are starting to see it being very good. And this is the list they're using. Let me open a new tab so we can zoom in again. Oh, okay. Well, that worked out perfectly. Actually, are we zoomed in a lot? Right? Yeah, that's what it is. Here we go. Perfect. There we go. So check this out, guys. Let me go full screen. This is the list that someone recommended from the East, saying the core was there. Because I did like a translation. I will show you guys. Let me see. Translate post. Things will change frequently from now on, but the foundation. So I'm assuming that's just a rough translation, obviously. But I think the translation is essentially, this is roughly the deck list with a few, things you can change around. So the direction that we will probably build in OP09, I have made this comment before. I've made this, I've suggested this before. We're probably going to be going Revo Army in OP09. Now, that's not to say that the version we're rocking right now in the West in OP08, like that I just showed off, using that specific formula, that specific schematic, it might be just as good as something like this. But I want to say this: whenever we get to OP09, we have to take certain things into consideration. We have to consider, is this going to be good into something like Blackbeard, or something like Buggy, or something like Shanks, and so on and so forth. And we'll have to think about that. Okay, guys, that's about it. We're almost done. I think we're pretty much done with this video. One thing I do want to mention on this list real quick is, notice they're still running pretty close to what we said. They're just a little light on triggers, I think. But look at this, guys. They got, all right, 4 Hiyori, 4 of the new 2K counter Kuma, and 4 of, I think they had one more 2K counter, the Frankie. So they're running 12 of the 2K counters like we were just looking at. They have 8 rush cards, and then they have a lot more utility stuff than we were running, because they're building around, the whole Revo Army thing with the Revo Searcher here, the 5-cost Revo Searcher, Ivankov that plays a character, and all that stuff. And they have some of the new Revo Army stuff from OP09, like the Kuma, the Bello Betty, the 6-cost Koala, and the 7-cost Sabo. The list looks awesome. It looks very strong, but this one's a little spicy, I will say. I feel like what we're working on in the West is a little more fine-tuned and a little more refined. But hey, guys, I'm not going to lie. I did try this out in a game, and it did pretty well against a Blackbeard. Maybe I'll show that off in a future video. But the list is pretty good. You know, the list is pretty solid. However, I just want to say this. For what we're trying to do, I feel like what we're working on right now over in the West right now for OP08, I feel like we're onto something special, guys. I really do. I really feel like we're onto something special there. Okay, I think we're done now. Let me see. Let me go out of full screen here. Bring this back up. Let me see. I had my little notes right here. So we did the intro. We did the the sim games, list analysis, deck list and revisions, 8.5 direction. We talked about the list analysis from OP09 and some final thoughts. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now, guys. We're on the final thoughts. If you guys have any comments, any questions or suggestions, let me go ahead and put up the playmat page real quick. Okay, there it is. Make sure we're all good. Yeah, we're good. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions or anything like that, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below. Guys, if you do well with Red Yellow Sabo, please report back. Tell us what's working for you. Tell us what's not working for you. Like, hey, this matchup feels unwinnable. How can we fix it? Either say something in the YouTube chat or say something on the Discord. Okay, because I want to be able to work through all this with everybody. All right, I'm done. I'm done rambling for now. This is a community project. I've been having so much fun with it. I'm so happy everyone's come along for the way. Big shout out. Hang on, I got to take a second now to do a really big shout out. Number one, big shout out to Efraim. Big shout out to Mike, my buddy Mike. Daniel, another locals guy. Ricky G, and Dane Higgins, and everybody else in the community, and Renyu, of course, for doing well, the guy Dundo, and I haven't even talked to these guys like to mention them in the video. I'm just saying thank you to these guys for continuing to keep the dream alive and push Red Yellow Sabo to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. The deck feels incredible to pilot, guys. You guys saw what I was able to do with it. Yeah, I've never claimed to be the best player. You know, it's nothing like that. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm the best player out there. You know, no, think about it. If I'm not the best player out there and I'm doing, you know, at least decently with the deck and multiple people are doing very, very well with the deck, there's got to be something there, right? Or is it just cope? We'll have to figure it out. But big shout out to everybody who's been helping with this project, this Red Yellow Sabo project. I'm nothing but grateful, and I'm glad y'all want to come along, you know, go along with the ride. Go along for the ride with me, or however you say that expression. I'm horrible with these, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. I think I'm just kind of beaten after this long video. So now, thank you to everybody who supports the channel, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, or you know, contributing Red Yellow Sabo stuff, you know, to the channel, ideas and whatnot. And also to the people who have bought the playmat, the VV Pirate playmat supporters. Thank you guys so much. Hope y'all are enjoying your playmats. I've been seeing a lot of pictures of those recently. Those have been, you know, they've been all over the place. And then last but not least, of course, the patrons. Everybody who's been helping out just by, you know, just donating money to me just to make sure we succeed, right? Just trying to help out in whatever way they can. Really big, you know, thank you guys so much. Big shout out to you guys. And yeah, I'm done. All right, this video, almost 2 hours long. Guys, I gave you all 3 hour long Red Yellow Sabo video last week, or what, 2 weeks ago. Now you get a 2 hour long one. But hey, I wanted to make sure y'all were prepared for OP08. All right, guys, let's do this. I want to see some results come in for Red Yellow Sabo and OP08, guys. I want to see us, you know, kick some butt in the West with Red Yellow Sabo and OP08. All right, I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, peace.